Welcome, one and all, to a golden instance of Paddling Pool. This is Paddling Pool 320. I am Frostix. I'm joined by Sasu. What are we thinking about today, about this week's Paddling Pool?
Well, it's a funny thing that we are trigger happy versus smiley face because I sure am smiling, ready for this golden paddling pool 320. Can you believe it, Frostix? That's a lot of paddling pools.
Well, of course, Paddling Pool is the longest running Splatoon weekly tournament, and we are still in the 300 threshold. We're getting ever so closer to that halfway through 300, so, wow.
Yeah, but it's golden, we're ready, and we are in the group stage looking at Trigger Happy versus Smiley Face. I think it's happy and smiles all around, but we'll see if both of these teams are still smiling when they come out of this zones only, starting off with Robo Ramen Zones. What are you thinking about this, Frostix?
Okay, so when it comes to Robo Ramen zones, one thing that I always see a lot of teams doing is as soon as they cap that first zone, they move into the elbow portion of the map. They immediately occupy that spot and then start engaging a lockout. This pizza has gone cold.
Oh my gosh, I'm so I have not eaten yet today. I had like a lot going on. Clearly, I had to do my face. I was like, listen, if the people are gonna see me, they're gonna see the face beat. And I sacrificed food for face, essentially. So I'm very jealous. See that pizza? Share! Oh my gosh, Frostix!
There's a lot. If you feel like dropping by, getting some pizza with peppers and mushrooms and chicken and stuff like that.
Oh my gosh, this is brutal. But honestly, maybe I'll be getting some ramen. Robo Ramen giving me giving me ideas here.
Ooh, we are soup scheming.
Absolutely, but we are getting right into it. Excited to see these loadouts here. Something a little bit more typical versus just more of the same. You see that, interestingly enough, Happy Face does have both a Carbon and an S-Blast, which I feel like is a little bit less common because both of those weapons may need some paint. So we'll see if that causes any issues for Happy Face there.
That being said, Happy Face is one of Happy Face's primary painter. That pencil has immediately gone down. That's no soda. Same thing with both the Carbon and the S-Blast. That's those front lines going down on the side of Happy Face as Trigger Happy are moving up into the elbow and firing on to Happy Face's spawn. Here comes a Kraken from Zune DIX here. You're gonna have to watch out for that. Comrade trying to move in, trading with Cheap here, but will it be enough? I don't think so, Sasu.
Yeah, just like you said, they cap the zone, they move up into the elbow, but not if this crab has anything to say about it. So far, Trigger Happy all the way down to 49, but moving back a bit in the face of that pressure that Happy Face is putting forward. They're able to cap the zone, finally put a stop on that really dominant opening from Trigger Happy, but with the strikes coming out, that is going to attack the zone, but not be enough to cap that. Trigger Happy have a crab online, but it seems as though little by little, members of Happy Face going down, they're going to have to give up that elbow, and I think maybe these penalty points, they're being run through. This might be Trigger Happy's for the taking.
It does seem like that's the case as Happy Face was 2 down. Comrade's trying to get another sneak. They will be able to take out Jin. Zune is going down to a crab tank from Happy Face, and now I think this is their moment to start moving in. Comrade is heralding this counter push, but Cheap and Squabit and now Jin are still holding down the fort here. They don't lose any more time counting down here. Zone may be in neutral, but Trigger Happy still maintain control of this zone. And with the crab coming out from Cheap, it could be that, but Happy Face will manage to finally flip the zone in their favor, apply 48 penalty points to Trigger Happy, and already Comrade is trying to make their presence known, trying to get some splats and just clear the rest of Trigger Happy out as they will be in control.
Yeah, I think that kind of harkens back to what I was saying at the opening there. They maybe should have gotten that flip a little bit earlier, but you had Comrade on that Carbon as well as their S-Blast being the only ones up. So even though they got the appropriate picks, they weren't able to really capitalize off of it due to their lack of paint. But you see that despite capping over the zone, which has done well to sort of stall out this game a little bit more, Trigger Happy really back on it, getting back control of the zone, putting their specials out, putting a lot of pressure. Of course, they're able to down the Crab, down another member, the Carbon, I believe. On the side of Happy Face, that's 3 down with the pencil, meaning no cooler, and they are ticking down to the 10-point mark. We have a Booyah Bomb being popped, but I think it is able to stall out the zone, but I don't know if they have the paint here. It may just not be enough, but we will see with 2 members going down. Trigger Happy, finally, Happy Face able to go right out of the clutches of this loss at 69. Very nice, Frostix.
That being said, though, Smiley Face have a very long hill to climb. They practically need to knock out in order to take this game. They need to win in order to win, Sasu. And when it comes to Trigger Happy, they aren't just Trigger Happy, they're paint happy. All of their weapons can output so much paint within a short amount of time. They're rocking Splash, they're rocking Headed, they're rocking that V-Bucket with Tri-Strikes that flip the zone in Trigger Happy's favor. But now, Smiley Face are starting to up the ante with Shark as well as that Splash, trying to keep the paint orange. Here comes a Booyah Bomb from that S-Blast, at least keeping Trigger Happy in their elbow. Comrade has now equipped the Trizuka. They're firing onto Squabbit. 3 shots will not claim any targets. The Soda is coming out from that pencil again. If anything, Smiley Face are counting down fast. They're in the 20 threshold, breaking out of that into the 10s. They may be able to make into the single digits as long as they can deal with it. Shark will be able to take out Zune. That's no Kraken. They've entered the single digits. Zone is in neutral, Sasu. Can Smiley Face take this back? Here come the Tri-Strikes. That's getting canceled by Shark. Holy! Smiley Face from the clutches of defeat take it from 69. Nice. 2 knockout.
Wow, what a game 1 today on this golden paddling pool. The come from behind win, because when you see the other team has it to 1, like you said before, you gotta get that knockout in order to keep yourself alive. And yeah, especially with their paint disadvantage, they really were working overtime to make it back in, and I think it doesn't hurt that the members of Trigger Happy, seeing them go through those penalty points and put those points on the board, they gotta be maybe panicking a little bit, leading them to stagger and giving Happy Face the victory there.
One thing I'd also like to say, because I remember in the beginning you said that S-Blast and that Carbon, it would probably play a lot more effectively if it had a lot more paint going for it. And I think once Smiley Face managed to find their ground, and as soon as they started posting up, making sure that at least the paint was constantly in their field, it allowed the Carbon, Comrade, and that S-Blast to just start cleaning house, keeping those paint-heavy weapons from Trigger Happy at bay, not allowing them to move past elbow, not allowing them to get a flank on board here. So that first win is going to them. Did you catch what the second map was, by the way, Sasu?
I believe the second map, at least, I think it's on screen for us, but I will fully admit that I kind of Men in Black, like,
you neuralizer?
And then you asked about it, I'm like, oh. But we will be heading to that Humpback Zones, which I, as a Tri-Slosher player, is a favorite of mine. But seeing as though what we saw out of those 2 teams, I have to imagine with all the AoE coming out of Happy Face, that they may be at a bit of an advantage here.
Definitely so here. Trigger Happy was sporting some AoE of their own, primarily within that S-Blast, but is it enough to deal with, say, the paint, with of course the paint output that, say, the V-Bucket has, that, say, Smiley Face was also sporting that 96 Deco, that sports Kraken. We have no more time left to analyze. It's match point for Smiley Face here. If they take Humpback Pump Track, they're they're getting more points to their name in group stage. Are we seeing any switch ups here? No.
You are correct. No, we are not. Both of these teams confident in what they're running, and they're gonna go at it again. Though, interestingly enough, edit is probably fine here, but I, as an edit player, if I can choose what I'm going, edit can be a little bit tough. The reason why we mentioned the AoE is that, of course, Humpback Pump Track, a place that has a lot of hills, a lot of peaks and valleys, so you're not going to really see a decav or anything else that really needs to shoot in a straight line in order to get its pick. But already, the zone right now in neutral, despite a lot of picks happening, but ultimately the pen on the side of Happy Face able to paint over that and move up, giving their team a more advantageous, a more aggressive position. But it seems as though Trigger Happy really intent on punishing those overextensions, getting the wipeout, getting that soda, and they are well poised to just put an immense amount of pressure on Happy Face.
And they're already right up in Happy Face's spawn. Zune has popped the Kraken. Watch out for that. Meanwhile, Cheaped is firing off with that Crab Tank. That Bucket has Tri-Strikes as well. They have to apply the cheese on the pizza here. There's already 2 members down on Smiley Face here. It doesn't look like Tufa can get a run for their money here. They're being outpainted. Even with this Booyah Bomb, will that be enough to paint the zone here? Especially when Jin will pop this.
Yeah, I think that there's just so much pressure going on here. Both of these teams really putting out a lot of their specials there, but ultimately I think Happy Face able once again to really punish those overextensions. You see that they have control of the zone. Comrade getting that cooler, because we all know that carbons, you give them an inch, they'll take a mile, making sure that they are able to live as they go in there. But ultimately, despite this Kraken being popped, not able to find any picks, and so far Happy Face really steadily making their way through their points. And really, doing well here. They might be able to take this lead.
It's just a repeat of last game, Sasu, here, as the lead now swaps a trade of hands in Smiley Face's favor here. You see Comrade lying in the trenches, lying in wait, seeing if anyone from Trigger Happy. There it is! Comrade is attacking the crab. Cheaped does actually manage to respond here. It's now a 3v1 against Comrade. That being said, though, that was the stall that Happy Face needed again. I am giddy right now, Sasu. This is insane! With another reverse sweep knockout from Smiley Face, they 2-0 this set against Trigger Happy. Points to them in group stage.
Oh my gosh, and topping it all off there with that fist bump, well earned. Don't call it a comeback, Rob6, because clearly Happy Face gets through that set with a clean 2-0, despite the fact that they started off at a heavy disadvantage in both games. This is just really insane. You see over there, as we are counting down, Cheaped having that this way to try and deal with the carbon, but really good distraction tactics, because as we mentioned, Happy Face clearly at a disadvantage with paint, but when you have someone really distracting the members in their own spawn from getting towards that mid, ultimately they're too far away, they don't have the resources, and that's just gonna be the game for Happy Face.
Yeah, exactly here. When Trigger Happy was just utilizing all of their resources into dealing with those pesky frontliners that Happy Face was running, of course, Comrade running around with the carbon roller, same thing with Tufa on that S-Blast here. Just, it was diverting the resources away from the zone, and when you have a lot of these pivotal specials like Tri-Strikes, like Crab Tank, like Kraken, you need to make sure that you're prioritizing it on what matters right now, which is probably the objective, especially when Smiley Face was counting down. So, man, what a play. A play and a half.
Truly a masterful gambit, if you ask me. But taking a look at the bracket, we are currently in the group stages, but you can take a little bit of a look at some of the teams we weren't necessarily looking at. You see a 2-0 Bob over Pringle Cat with that second placed that second place seeding there, so we still have more rounds to get through, Frostix. So those of y'all watching, stay where you are, maybe reheat a slice for yourself, get a snack, and we'll be right back.
Don't go anywhere. Paddling Pool 320 will be back soon. And we're ready to dive back into the Golden Paddling Pool 320. For those just joining, I'm Frostix, joined by Sasu on the right. I'm pointing to the wrong direction. There it is.
You're right. I don't know, directions are weird when you're on camera, but we are here with Golden Paddling Pool number 320. I love that now you guys can see my uncertainty on my face. But I'm like 320. And we are still in the group phase, and we're looking at Nightcord at 2,500 hours. I'm American, so I'm not super sure on how to read that time-wise. We're on a 12-hour scale versus Late Call. So,
wow, okay.
These feel like themed matches to me. We have Late Call and Nightcore, and we had Happy Face, I think.
Trigger Happy,
and
Noticing
Smiley Face. So we once again see a sort of showdown here on Splat Zone's Haggle. As you know, Frostix, I tend to call this place the Great Equalizer because it is a map mode that practically everybody knows how to play on. Looking at these loadouts, nothing too out of the ordinary. We're looking at a meta showdown in our view.
Definitely so. Both teams are sporting both Vanilla Slosher as well as Splatana Stamper, but their choices for coolers are very varied, actually. Nightcord at 2,500 hours has NZAP, meanwhile Late Call sticking to the traditionally seen Snipe Rider here. And both, there's 3 members down on Late Call. It's only that Bucket left, and they're being chased down by both the 52 as well as that sword. After a trade, that Bucket will be going down, which will finally allow Nightcord to get first cap. But that perhaps won't be for long, as Late Call is now starting to get back onto the scene. Slasher is present. The tri-strikes have come out from the Bucket. Chicky is trying to keep the paint on, being positioned at that high ground tent. And already, with 2 members down on Nightcord, Late Call will flip the zone in their favor here.
Yeah, and really it just comes down to which team can be aggressive enough to keep the other team in their spawn. We just kind of saw a change of hands, both teams in a very disadvantaged situation. You have a absolutely epic splatter here on Yuki. I think we're looking at a bit of a zip off there with right now Slosher, I think, being the victory of that zip off there. But as that's happening, Late Call really steadily making their way through their points, but not before members of Nightcord at 2,500 is able to really go back in, especially with these strikes as well as with that whale. They're really throwing everything and the kitchen sink over at Late Call, but 2 of their members get checked, giving the priority back to Late Call, and unfortunately they are not able to flip the zone while Late Call was at a bit of a disadvantage there. So currently Late Call still making their way through their points, getting 2 members down. I think this place is so big that they just won't be able to flip over. That is a steady win for Late Call.
Everything in the kitchen sink just wasn't enough. You just had to throw the fridge at Late Call here, as they will be taking that win on Hagglefish here. If you know me, then you'll definitely hear that this is the straightest map that isn't Hammerhead Bridge, and they just played that very, very effectively here.
Yeah, maybe I wasn't quite paying attention, but I feel like both of these teams kind of playing a very honest game in that I just didn't see a wide amount of sort of flank plays. Most of the picks going down were in the court area or in mid, and yeah, it just kind of felt as though maybe those weren't being utilized. Perhaps it's the sort of meta use of both of these comps, but really an honest 4v4, I feel like we saw out of these 2 teams.
Definitely so here, but if I know one thing for sure, it is specifically that Slasher is a weekly warrior and a half. I've seen them in so many tournaments across several different orgs, and they live up to their name. They're a really, really solid Stamper player, and we saw that very effectively within Hagglefish Market in game number 1 here. But even still, both of those teams were kind of playing the same game, perhaps. I think, which team was running the NZAP again? Was that Late Call or was that Nightcord?
I think that was Nightcord, possibly.
Okay, so then what I'm thinking is that I think Nightcord was trying to be a little bit more aggressive with their plays, of course, since they have that frontline cooler courtesy of the NZAP. But we're going into Barnacle and Dime zones for game number 2 here. Another elbow situation if things go a little bit in more... if the zone control is in a certain team's favor, but we'll just have to see how that plays as we dive into game 2.
Yeah, you know, you're talking about Nightcord going for that aggression. They're really going to need it here. As I always say when we get to this map mode, very difficult place to play on because you can absolutely just lock out a team if you get enough of their members down, if they stagger way too hard. When you wipe, you're going to have an absolutely massive mountain you're going to have to get over, but you see here, Jackie really doing a good job of punishing people, using their range to their advantage. Slasher with a very wise tactical jump out there, not going too far in. Ultimately, the key to getting that zone is to take your own plat back. So you don't want to overextend. You don't want too many of your members to go down. Luis making sure to get those strikes out to put more pressure in this court area. Slasher doing a lot of difficult work with that zip, and it's looking like they might be able to go all the way down to 0.
That being said, Nightcord will strike back right in the nick of time as Zone goes into neutral. That being said, though, with that 52 down, things may get a little bit more dicey for Nightcord here as Late Call is now returning to the scene. Luis is holding down the ground. Same thing with Slasher. Same thing with that Splash who is there. We are in the single digits now, and with that, Nightcord won't get any other chances. This is going to be another 2-0 set sweep, this time for Late Call.
Oh my gosh, the shock on my face right now, that is crazy. I wonder if it was in both instances. Yes, with both of these teams, there's been a time where Nightcord has just been set up to get enough members of Late Call down, perhaps move in and paint over the zone, but once again, we see them only able to put it in neutral, not able to cap over it, which allows Late Call to ultimately just really paint over it, jump in, take it back, and that's really all she wrote, I suppose. Because if you're not able to just paint over that and put the stop on those points going down, you know, nail in the coffin, really.
Yep, the words are on the wall. Read it and weep for Nightcord here. And man, that was fast. That escalated really quickly here. When I said that Slasher is a weekly warrior and a half and that they live up to their name as a very, 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 very notable Samper player, I was not lying here. We've seen them just go into the back line of Nightcord, cause so much havoc here. And yeah, and wow, okay, we don't even have time for a break, Sasu. I think we're going straight into the next set, but before we do that, we're gonna get another bird's eye view of group stage. We're seeing Group C, Group D over here. Of course, Late Call being seed 12 are currently at a win-loss ratio of 2.
Yes, and you can see there over in Group D, Camden with a steady 2-0 win over Furry Coalition. No shock due to Camden not just being a high seed, but rightfully being a high seed with being an extremely strong team. So
they brought on everyone. They brought on everyone on content for this one.
Absolutely, it's very Avengers. Everyone's here, or like the Smash Bros. Everyone's here. So
everyone is here, maybe except Risu and Punchy.
Including LeBron and the Lakers and Cell, a fan favorite, especially as it pertains to betting. They got a 2-0 in their first round there. Shocking maybe nobody. They are the 5th seed. They're the highest seed in this group here, and we'll see if in their round 3, since they got 2-0s in both of their first sets, they're able to make it a clean sweep there. So look forward, certainly, to some of the things we're going to be seeing later on in bracket, but we're not there yet, so we got to get through round 3 first, Frostix.
Yep, round 3 is actually very soon coming up. We will see Juan Jusque Lextas. Dang, I wish Pat were here. Pat would probably help me pronouncing that name. And the previously aforementioned Konden. So that will be the next seed, the next set coming up in just a few, actually, as we're just waiting for a couple people to go. Oh, wait, is it? Maybe not just yet. Hold on. Okay, actually, this it isn't Konden and Juan Jusque Lextas. It's actually a Free Coalition Deluxe and Bad Luck. That is a match 3.1. That will be our round 3 set that we're seeing next, Sasu. Whoops.
Well, listen, maybe that's just a little bit of mercy on us as I would say as North Americans, but Frostix, you're from Canada, correct?
Hey, I'm within the North American bubble. Just a little.
I'm pointing out that there are people who speak French in your country. So
I tried.
I'm off the hook. You maybe not so much.
It's also I'm gonna keep it a $1.50. I took like a French program in my middle school for 4 years, so I have no excuse. I'm biffing my education.
I was like, listen, I took Spanish in middle school, so, and my Spanish is pretty solid. I'll take that. But we'll see how solid both of these teams are moving into the first game here. Museum zones, which can be quite difficult. You've got that center stack there that you have to deal with. Sometimes, especially, you have illusion here. Opting for the edit, which might be difficult up against that pencil. Range does a lot on a map like this, so we'll see how they deal with it, who's able to control that center stack, and ultimately, if that crab gets a lot of picks out of Bad Luck.
Yeah, definitely. And Bad Luck is trying to at least give their team name to Furry Coalition Deluxe here, as they will get the first cap, but won't let them. But at least with Furry Coalition Deluxe, they're at least trying to up the ante, trying to stand their ground here. Poison Cake with those Tetra Dualies are trying to. Oh, is this an isolated dually off? Okay, Sora, as well as the Tetras, the Dapples and the Tetras have gone down to each other in a trade here, as Furry Coalition Deluxe will finally find their footing. They're now trying to at least occupy the upper platform, the upper stack of Bad Luck. The Dapples were trying to get some picks there, but Fodder managing to get rid of Illusion on the mid spinner here. And right now, Furry Coalition Deluxe are still in control though, even with 2 members down, but not for long, as Sora will manage to flip the zone with the Reef Slider, the ever so cheesy Reef Slider.
Listen, actually, don't both of these teams have a Reef Slider?
Yes. Yes.
So, as much as I want to call it out, wow, that's cheese, you've got both of arguably the most annoying dualies ready to just slide in and ruin people's day. You see the aforementioned slider going in before getting checked on that end lag. Currently, the zone being in a bit of a neutral before Furry Coalition Deluxe is able to cap over it. Poison Ace really getting back. I think that wasn't the Tetra, but the splash. Poison Cake just really doing what dualies do best, what Tetras do best, and making sure to skirmish with people, a proper trade going down. And it just seems as though we're looking at people explode here at random. So there's a lot going on, but you see both of these scores are very close. It's still anybody's game, Frostix.
Yep, all our food keeps blowing up here, and things may blow up ever so further here as the Splash is trying to make a play on to, I think, the enemy team Splash. Once again, splash on splash, crime happening. We're seeing Poison Cake lie in wait with that Reef Slider. They're striking, getting rid of Skyhawks. They're going down to the 52 on the side of Bad Luck. Or not the 52, but the Splash. Ember is now poised to start a crab on top of Furry Coalition Deluxe's spinner. Forward crab alert. You gotta watch out for that Trizuka though here. That's going to end Ember's crab early, but they will be able to take out Axo. Tyler will be able to take out the Splash. Wow, I think I got caught up in the play-by-play so much, I think we just witnessed a wipeout, Zasu.
Yeah, as you were doing that, I was keeping an eye on, like we were saying, like people were just going down everywhere, and as that was happening, I went, wait a second, like who's leading? And I looked up and I went, oh my gosh, we're in single digits. All this fighting has been happening that it just kind of got away from me, and I have to wonder if that sort of happened to Bad Luck as well. I think they had their 3 members up. I think you may be right. They might have been able to get that that final pick on the edit, having a stylish wipeout at the end there. But really, I feel like this was almost a tale of 2 dualies, with both of those dualies really skirmishing up against each other. But they're really going to have to lock in and secure those picks, because, correct me if I'm wrong, Rodsticks, but that last game felt like we saw a lot of trade outs. Someone would get the pick, and then their buddy would come in and immediately trade them out. So as much as that's really good, maybe on our next map mode, which I think is Barnacle and Dime, you're not going to want...
It is Barnacle and Dime.
Oh, I was like, am I wrong?
No, you're not. No, you're not. You're good.
In brain-wise, I didn't get mind wiped by the Men in Black. Barnacle and Dime, rather than those trade-outs, you're going to have to really go for the kill and stay alive. You cannot afford to stagger on a Barnacle and Dime. You cannot afford to wipe. So I'm wondering how both of these teams are going to try and play for keeps.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong here, but we did say that this match was a tale of 2 dualies. We had the Dapples on one team, we had the Tetras on... Okay, I think it was the Dapples on Furry Coalition Deluxe, and the Tetras on Bad Luck. That being said, though, Furry Coalition Deluxe, correct me if I'm wrong, does have has a little bit more aggression with that Octobrush, right? So if this is a lot about ensuring that you have the numbers advantage in terms of picks here, Furry Coalition Deluxe may just run out of this door swinging.
No, I think you might be right, actually. I think with that aggression that we're about to see here, I think we're going to be heading into it. I think they might be, if it's anything from my personal experience, I feel like, oh, we're not going to, no, my bad. We do see this Octobrush still here, and quite frankly, it does sometimes feel as though brushes just get these picks, and you're like, how did they get me? Like, this should at least be a trade, but brushes are able to secure some of the craziest picks here. So 2 members already down on Bad Luck, maybe block their namesake, and 20 seconds in, we already have a white. Definitely Bad Luck for Bad Luck, as Furry Coalition Deluxe sets up their soda. So even if the members of Bad Luck are able to get a very improbable wipe, they still have to deal with all of these people who will be back fast. You see the dualies being checked after their end lag. Xyler in there making sure to do some cleanup, and like I always say, you got a lot of fights to do if you're going to get it back in mid. Everyone on that top right, but they have to get their court area, which is a little bit free. All the members of Furry Coalition Deluxe kind of backing up. It seems as though Bad Luck has gotten their plat, and finally they are back in mid and ready to get some points on the board.
Whereas Furry Coalition Deluxe has a lot of this aggression, courtesy of course, Poison Cake with the Dapples, as well as Xyler with that Octobrush. I think Bad Luck does have a little bit more paint in their hands. They, of course, have Splash, they have Pencil here, and they have managed to flip that zone very quickly, which puts some penalty points onto Furry Coalition Deluxe's hands. Here comes a Reef Slider, another Reef Slider from Poison Cake here, just to try and equalize this zone out. There's 2 members down on Bad Luck, though, consistently 2 members down here, and with that, and with Xyler just brushing away any more members of Bad Luck, Furry Coalition Deluxe is back in control here. Was that a Zipcaster cancel I just witnessed here? Both of the front lines on Furry Coalition Deluxe have gone down. Same thing with the soda provider that headed here, and that will allow Bad Luck to get in control once again here. They don't have a lot of penalty points to work around. This will definitely allow them to start counting down. Even still, they need to get to 27 here. It's a pretty steep hill to climb.
Yeah, and they've got the specials to climb it. You see Xyler really being pushed out there. Poison Cake somehow avoiding that Reef Slider and staying alive. But of course, Bad Luck still has the zone and is up to the court area. Uh-oh. and we have a very uh a full DC.
A full DC.
We will see if I think this may have happened to all of the players. We'll have to check back there. But wow, uh, what what a game for that to happen in, because I was feeling like it might just be anybody's game at the end there.
I know. It felt like Furry Coalition Deluxe had that really strong in the first game, but then Bad Luck finally managed to find their footing here, and then just gave Furry Coalition Deluxe just a taste of their own medicine. They just moved up elbow, moved into court, and then just started a court session here. I am still confused on how Poison Cake managed to survive that Reef Slider. It looks like they rolled into the water and then super jumped out. So like,
honestly, and
make it
good
make
on
sense.
them for still having the muscle memory to still super jump out, because I feel like mentally, if that happened to me, you can kind of see it here. Our streamer here, Jorian, kind of showing the replay for us there of Poison Cake really being in the thick of it. But like, I would argue, if I were there, if I had that Reef Slider and none of that paint, I feel like I don't even think I would have had the inputs to jump out. I think mentally I may have just given up and been like, oh, have you ever been in a situation, I feel like this happens especially in Rainmaker, where you're like, oh, well, I'm dead. And so you just
There
kind of
it is.
have your hands, and there it is! With a crazy jump out, and even landing. I think they didn't even look like they were weak. That was insane, that jump out. Like, all-star moment. I feel like I'd clip that and I'd put it on my profile for sure.
So I think like breaking it all down. Reef Slider from Tetris come in. The Dapples, initially, their first roll goes towards the water. It looks like they were about to fall in. Second roll secures them on land. Then, because they're probably running a lot of QSJ, I can attest for this as someone that plays a lot of Frontlines, Wiper, Dualies, a lot of the like. You run QSJ subs are common, and with those, I think they managed to just get out of there within just like a couple seconds, and then that allowed them to stay alive right before that full room DC.
Wow. Yeah, maybe the epicness of the jump out just like crashed the roof. Like, the roof was like, whoa.
Yeah.
It was like, if we allowed that jump in, something's clearly broken. We gotta DC everybody, start from scratch, because no way we let that guy live. Let's do a soft internal reset.
The server cannot handle that much aura.
Yeah. I think that's exactly what happened there. But something I also wanted to point out, interestingly enough, I feel like maybe this comes from
Sorry. I like to bring this guy out all the time.
Maybe this comes from both of the Reef Sliders being on very skirmishy weapons, very kind of the buzzing gnat that kind of annoys you weapons in Dapples and Tetras. But I feel like I've been seeing this Reef Slider, usually you see the Reef Slider that's basically kept only to cap over that zone. It's especially a huge threat on a place like Barnacle and Dime. You can really Reef Slider, and all you need is like one teammate to do very minimal paint, and you've essentially capped the zone. But out of these two, I feel like I'm seeing them just use it very offensively. Like, they are going for picks, they are going for fights, and I think that may be the signal that we might be seeing something that maybe just can't come back from, perhaps, from Furry Coalition Deluxe. Maybe forfeiting the game to Bad Luck?
I think so, yeah. Just looking over the replay rule, it's just, yeah, it is confirmed because the timer went past the 3-minute mark, and because the score was pushed past 50. That means that Bad Luck will take the set in 2-0 here. Even still, we did see Bad Luck get that flip and then get really close to tying up the score from Furry Coalition Deluxe before that unfortunate room-wide DC. I still can't believe that that's possible.
Yeah, as people always say, $20, right? $20 a year. So that's definitely tough. Furry Coalition Deluxe hit with the bad luck, if anything. I think that bad luck, I think it's a bit of a hex, a bit of a call out, like pointing at you, bad luck. They're putting it on you. Perhaps that's what the name is there, but we're once again going to be taking a look at these brackets to see what we have going on these matches that aren't necessarily being streamed, but they are of course happening in the background. We have Title Disruption with an 0-2 loss to Bing Bong. They're our 6th seed, and so far it looks as though everything really progressing as projected. No clear upsets that I've been seeing so far, Frostix.
I definitely wouldn't say that there's a lot of upsets either, per se. Here we're seeing LeBron and the Lakers and Cell have gone 4-0, I think. Oh, and we're not seeing. Oh no, I was gonna say that we're not seeing them anymore, but they're projected to go into Alpha bracket as well. Same thing with Inksoul's Maria, as well. We will be continuing the round 3 coverage since we still have a couple minutes to, not a couple minutes, but like some time to spare before Alpha bracket stage. So our next set will be we're going into Group F3.2, which there it is, Black Balloons and the previously aforementioned Bing Bong.
Black Balloons with the Dat Me face. I wonder, is that like is that like an old meme? Do you reckon Dat Me?
Huh?
Do you know that shit? Oh my god, I'm so old. Like, there used to be a meme that was like Dat Me, and then it's like hyphen underscore hyphen, like, you know, the hyphen underscore hyphen face.
I think I know. It's the old emoticon faces. I remember a lot of those.
Yeah.
I feel like I may know it under another name though. Was it ever called like Lenny within its like lifetime?
I could be too old to know. Like, I just remember, these are the Tumblr days. I think someone
this big Tumblr.
Someone like posted a picture of someone and it was like a picture of themselves where they're like, "Oh, what?" Yes, Jorian, but I have to remind everyone who's watching that I'm a fossil.
And that got 2 different ends of the spectrum. Sasu's a fossil.
Teaching everybody like the Tumblr, like the Tumblr history. I'm like Sarah Zed on YouTube.
Yeah.
Like, telling people, "Oh, thank you, Jorian." You know, I'll take it. I'll take it if someone thinks I'm not old. But yeah, someone said, "Oh, like, post a picture of you," and they posted a picture of the person who it belonged to, and the person said, "Dat Me," hyphen, like, they're like, "Well, that's me," and so everyone, I think, just called it like the Dat Me face.
Wait, like the hyphen colon, like the hyphen bracket,
like the hyphen underscore hyphen, like when the person said, "Oh, here's a picture of me," and they posted a picture of the.
I know it now.
Exactly.
I know it now. I'm not entirely as I'm not within like the new age brainrod zoomers. I know that. This I know. I'm aware. I was still there during the age of emoticon emojis before like not real emojis, but like
I still use them.
I also like using them a lot. It's great. They're great. They're neat. I love them. They're neat.
But what is certainly neat is the fact that we're going to be looking at Zones Museum once again here between Black Balloons and Bing Bong.
Sasu, it's the same set, Sasu.
Oh.
Particle.
Wait,
because it's round 3. It's round 3.
I say we're gonna be seeing it again.
Oh, or are we? They've been purged
Oh my
from the record.
gosh. It's a mystery.
They've
Who
been
knows?
stricken from the record. We don't really. Oh,
Well, I know because Jorion's showing it on his webcam, but I'm not saying what it is because I'm upping the mystery. There it is. Welcome to Inkblot Zones.
Oh wow. This changes everything because Inkblot Zones, yuck. I could not say more negative things about. Listen, I know that I have a bunch of friends in top level. I know that they're all zones only pilled. And whenever I say something like, oh, I hate Scorch zones. This because of the center stack that makes it really hard to cap the zone. And they'll say, yeah, well, what about I get this all the time. What about Inkblot zones? And I'm like, well, I hate her too. I hate her too. Ban her. Are you kidding me?
Stacks are maybe my kryptonite per se. Like it's why I don't like Makeup Art. Anyways, I feel like we have no more time left after my warm borderline hot take. And we go into round 1 of this round 3 match between Black Balloons and Bing Bong. We see Black Balloons in purple, Bing Bong in orange. Let's dive into this. I'm seeing N parry on Hatchin here. That's a sight for sore eyes. Meanwhile, on the side of Black Balloons, we see 2 instances of buckets, both Dreadringer as well as Vanilla Slosher. Already, 2 members down on the side of Bing Bong. The soda has come out from Black Balloons here, and they're just holding down mid like it's nobody's business. Hatchin cannot catch a break right now here. Those were so much shots from the Splatling, and bomb spam headed their way here. And I think, yeah, their Hatchin's already gone down here. Levy being forced to jump out as well here. Bing Bong is trying to break out of their own spawn, but Black Balloons is not letting them do that with tri-strikes as well as a Reef Slider being sent to their upper platform, Sasu.
Yeah, but it looks as though they're finally putting some pressure on this zone. But as we discussed before, not going to be easy to flip it necessarily due to that big center stack. So currently Black Balloons still have their hands on it. 2 picks from Hatchin, and that splashdown is going to mean that finally they're able to put that stop on that push. And I think that just Black Balloons were doing a really great job of putting on a lot of pressure. So I have to wonder if they're just going to be able to run back in here, because when you look at Black Balloons' weapons that they have here, it feels like it's just like pressure, lots of paint. A good amount of range out of literally every weapon means that they're very well equipped. You see Prosper there holding the heavy edit, trying to check anybody who dares go forward. Of course, a Reef Slider coming out, but there's just enough time to go down, especially with no penalty, that Bing Bong has taken the lead here. And right now, Black Balloons trying to effectively use their specials to drop down here and see if they can take it back.
And they take it back, though. We're in single digits for Bing Bong here. And with only a couple members of Black Balloons left alive, it won't allow Black Balloons to take it back, as Bing Bong will reverse sweep this game on Inkblot. That is a knockout for Bing Bong.
Yeah, I think that very interesting. We've seen a lot of this on stream, these sort of reverse sweeps during these games, like one team just having a dominant push or a dominant game for the majority of the time, and then the other team just gets, all you really need is one good push, right? Like, as much as people admonish Turf for it just being like the last 30 seconds, or, you know, all you need is to, sometimes you just get a good hold and then you keep it, and that's how you lose it. So Bing Bong working really hard to fight off an upset here, seeing as though they're coming into this with the highest seed, and we'll see if they're able to keep that going here on Umami Zones.
So once again, Umami Zones feels like it does not allow cheese, of course. It has 2 zones with a very large rectangle in the middle here. But I think this is another map that feels very prone to locking out here if the team can just can apply pressure to the spawn area of a counter-attacking team, it won't allow them a lot of space. And even when there are maybe flanks present, it doesn't seem like it's enough here. So pressure and space control are the name of the game here on Umami Ruins as we dive into round 2, match point.
Yes, but I'd like to point out that I find the Black Balloons, I think, has a really good specials, particularly for zones. And even though you might say, oh, well, they're at a disadvantage because they can't just they can't cheese zone as easily now that there's 2. They might be in a good position, giving as though they also have those strikes. You know what I mean? And Wiper can be very strong here with its special. You can just kind of clear an entire side with that hammer, but enough analysis. Bing Bong able to get their hands on both of these zones. Interestingly enough, 2 of their members going down, make that a total of 3, and so Black Balloons coming back with a vengeance. 4x4 really holding their ground, not going down despite all of the pressure and a trade going on there. T-Echo, of course, with this crab, so we'll see if they're able to get it back or if they're just gonna probably maybe lose this lead.
It just depends. These leads are very close between Bing Bong and the newly renamed Balloon Noir. I don't know why Jordan must have done that, but who knows, as we now see a flip as Bing Bong is starting to count down their penalty points here, but Black Balloons are trying to find their footing. They managed to take out Hatchin. Here comes Starfan with that hammer, taking 2 members of Black Balloons down here. They're rushing to get perhaps Tommy Echo off the field, but Tommy Echo has popped the crab tank, forcing Starfan to try to rush it. They will be able to cancel that crab out, but here comes Hatchin trying to make their claim onto mid to at least allow Bing Bong to keep their control. But right now, Black Balloons are upping the ante in spades here with the firepower and the paint that they have, and they're able to take the zone and start counting down.
And finally, they not only the zone, but they finally take the lead as well. It felt as though Black Balloons were at a really a really strong advantage there, so it almost seems crazy that the lead that they got off that, maybe not as much as you would expect based on their skirmishing power. Elefan going down, EYG Levy kind of going to get that soda before moving forward, because like you said, you can have an absolutely nasty lockout here, and I think that's what Bing Bong is trying to poise themselves to do. We've seen a lot of come from behind plays, so I think that's maybe what Bing Bong's going for, having taken the lead in this moment, and now with this crab, they're poised to just see if they can make sure that Black Balloons stays in their spawn and isn't able to make their way towards the zone.
Yeah, exactly. So here, as Bing Bong is now in the 20 thresholds, the whales are firing out courtesy of the crab, and Hatchin is just guarding the post like they're Cerberus, taking out Starfan as well as Elefan here. But zone has been gone into neutral, but not for long. Bing Bong is now in the single digits. Balloon Noir need to step up now. The strikes do fly out, but it's not enough for Balloon Noir to take this back, as Bing Bong will take the set. This isn't going to be an upset, as they will take it in a 2-0.
Yeah, those strikes, unfortunately, just maybe a second too late. I think they may have been able to stall that zone. I'm assuming maybe they got them just that second and threw them as soon as they did. But ultimately, you know, I think despite their dominant start, they just kind of struggled to keep that. You see Hatchin, when they were a bit on their rampage, getting that double and really stabilizing. Of course, I think that is Prosper there on that edit, trying to really pressure that zone, but it's just not going to be enough ultimately. So that is a loss for Black Balloons, but certainly not going down without a fight, at least not in my opinion.
Definitely not so here. They had a very strong presence in that early game. I think the same thing, it felt like a very similar story to last match here. they were able to have a very strong control in the early game. But then it's like you said back on Inkblot, it really does just take one good counter push. And in Bing Bong's case, they had 2 of those.
Yeah, and I think that this is also the first loss for Black Balloons. Of course, Black Balloons is our 9th seed going up against our 6th seed in Bing Bong. And seeds are not everything. Upsets happen all the time, and missed seeds happen all the time. There's only so much you can do, but yeah, definitely sort of a clash of the titans there with our top 10 in this golden paddling pool, really going head to head. And you could see both of those teams at one point and another definitely had the ability to perhaps win that set. So definitely a lot of strong teams here at the golden paddling pool 320.
And speaking of very strong teams, you're looking at Alpha Bracket. The results have been finalized, and our top teams have been punched in. Vanguard, Ink Souls Maria, Smiley Face, Conden, Black Balloons, LeBron and the Lakers plus Cell, Elira, Distinct, Late Call, Bob, Close One, Melodium, Bing Bong, and Jouons Jusqu'à l'Extase.
I know that, listen, if I were on the mic with Pat would say, just call them JJ or something
Yeah.
Like, do not butcher my language like this. That is too bad for you, Pat. You're gonna have to say it when you are on the mic. For now, you'll have to deal with hearing us butcher it. But yeah, like you said, of course, Vanguard and Bob getting those buys due to being 1st and 2nd seed, having the best scores there. So yeah, definitely some good games to come up.
Yep, and we now have the names of our next 2 teams that we're going to be seeing in Alpha Bracket. We saw Close One and Melodium, Seed 3 versus Seed 7.
Oh, Seed 3 versus Seed 7. I think that as much as things have been sort of by the books so far, I feel like even when a team is like, there's like a 2-person seed, we've seen like a 2-0 out of the team that's like seeded higher. So that's how it's been going. But honestly, things get a little bit less paint by numbers when elimination is on the line. So I believe this is these are brackets, so it's single elimination, and both of these teams gonna have their feet to the fire here in Close One and Melodium, starting off on the dreaded E-Leader favored map.
Welcome to Brinewater Zones.
Brinewater. Ooh.
I really have been noticing a uprising of Brinewater Zones lately. This is something that must be researched if you're me. I don't know. It's really intriguing that we're seeing a lot of Brinewater Zones, especially after we haven't been seeing it for a lot. Like you said, Sasu, because of how open this map is, and because of the high ground that is naturally present, like just right off the bat at the end at both teams spawn, this map is Charger City. Of course, it's like you get to see pencils, but like you said, E-leaders have a chance of spawning here. Why am I saying this like I'm shiny hunting?
Because it's the golden paddling pool. It's kind of a shiny paddling pool, if you will. It's kind of the same, but a little bit different, more rare, much like a shiny Pokemon. So in a way, we are kind of shiny hunting, in a way. And I think that you said you have to look into it, and I think that it starts and ends with the fact that there has been a preference for zones only in the community, especially at top level, but I think a lot of the things that happen at top level trickle down a bit into more general play. So I think when it comes to zones only, most everyone plays everything. Almost nothing is banned. You will see top level players playing on the most absurd places on zone. So I feel like, you just gotta, if it's zones only, you gotta thug it out. And we'll see how it goes. Like, some of these people might be bringing an edit to a Charger fight.
Definitely so here. In terms of who picked Brine Water, this one was picked by Close One. And if I know one thing for sure about at least some of the players on Close One, KitKat, I've seen KitKat on more than just Pencil lately. Of course, like, I think I see like KitKat on Pencil a lot. They're a really good backline anchor. But I've seen them bring out E-Leader. I will say this. They have brought out E-Leader before. I'm not saying that we'll see it again. But sure, but wouldn't it be cool? It is Brine Water. Leaders play surprisingly well in Brine Water.
Surprisingly.
Oh, no, not even surprisingly. Leaders play well. This isn't Charger City for nothing.
Yeah, I think that we might be seeing that. But also, I think that despite the fact that this is Charger City, you'll also see places sometimes like Hammerhead that are also just E-Leader favored. And you'll see these higher ranked teams not even bother with it. E-Leader is really strong, but it's also very slow. And of course, if you're running E-Leader, that means you need a Zap. You don't want to run a Splatling with a Charger if you can avoid it. So you're going to have someone having to be on that Zap. And some people just think the trade-off is not worth it. So even though you say Brine Water, leader, like last thing I want to see is an E-Leader on Brine Water, a lot of these E-Leader players will still opt for a Pencil just to avoid having a Zap on their team, or just so that they have the ability to just be faster, get that paint out, and not have to just burn through all their paint making their shots.
Yeah, definitely so. You don't really want to burn a lot of your, I guess, just, you don't want to, like, your main output of Tacticooler to be consistently going down within the pits of zone here. Otherwise, you'll just be thirsty, like I am. I'm out of water.
Because what? Listen. Everyone in chat, hydrate. But, yeah, so we're going to be on a lookout for what we're seeing on that very interesting map mode there. But regardless of who wins that first one, we'll see if Close One is able to get their namesake, and if they tie it up, or if they get a sweep, or if they themselves get swept. But either way, we will be going into Mahi Mahi Zones second, which is very much so the exact opposite in some ways to Brine Water, because I'd argue when it comes to Mahi, your backline is going to be having a little bit of an issue. I feel like you're looking more at your mid lines and your front lines to see what they can get done in a place like Mahi.
Yeah, definitely so here, but we have no more time left to talk about the map ahead as we go into Brine Water Zones. Welcome to Game 1. We're seeing KitKat on the Pencil. We're seeing Billie Jean with the Luna Neo here. That's definitely going to be an interesting sight. Meanwhile, on the side of Close One, or Melodium, I think, we see Kuwu with the Paintbrush. We're seeing Missile Sasu. That'll be some interesting things coming out from this match. Already, Close One is taking first cap, but there's two members going down on Close One here. That's no Crab and no Hammer on the side of Close One, as Billie Jean, as well as that Splash respawning. Albo, I think, has gone down with it, and KitKat, even when multiple people go down on Close One, that Pencil is just able to just hold down the line, ensure that the paint is still present for Close One. And there's two members down on Melodium as well. Close One are still in this.
Yeah, just like I mentioned before, I think that Melodium have brought an edit to what is perhaps a Pencil fight. It may be easy to get checked. They have all of that range, but you have Kuwu here getting 2 picks in one go. People have been complaining a lot about the rise of Paintbrush, and as somebody who plays Paintbrush myself, you can really be given an inch, take a mile, get those picks or those trades, and also paint output, not the worst in the world. So Melodium making their way by pressuring that zone. You see a kind of skirmish going down there on that bottom right. Fantar able to get a pick, and right now Close One still has their clutches on this zone, but not without Melodium putting a lot of pressure to see if they can put it in that neutral, which they have, and then possibly cap over it. Kumu is just on a rampage. Billie Jean putting the stop to that kill streak.
Yeah, definitely. So you don't want that paintbrush to cause any more pain than it already has here. Totodor, once again, they are sporting headed, but they are at least trying to keep the paint as well as the sodas up for Melodium. That being said, Melodium is 2 members down. Totodor looks like they're in a sticky situation, being forced to jump back to Kumu here. And now Close One are right up onto Melodium's doorstep. That Luna as well as the... I think that's the... did I see a shot? I don't know if I saw a shot. 2 members down on each team, though. Here comes an Ultra Stamp once again from Billie Jean. Will it claim any targets? We don't really know, as Billie Jean will be going down again here. Asura trying to move in. They will be able to take out Albo and clear the rest of Close One out of the pits of zone, as they will start counting down. They don't have a lot of penalty points to their name. They're going to start counting down. That being said, it is a very steep hill to climb, as Close One is at 36 here. They're setting a very, very strong mark for Melodium to take back.
Yeah, but you know, it seems as though, like, having the zone, it's a little bit slippery. It's difficult for Melodium to really keep it in their hands, which is not shocking, seeing as though they have that pen that can go to that center block in the middle there and get those picks on anyone who dares to kind of step on Snipe. But with that trade, sacrificing themselves, Close One able to get a wipeout on Melodium, and right now they have a pen that can watch anyone who drops there, and they have the rest of their members situated up that ramp to really push them. 2 members down on Melodium. It just feels as though Close One doing a lot of really wise crowd control, and that's ultimately what's going to win them the game here.
Yeah, definitely. Within that last minute of the match, they were just keeping everything under control. They had 3 members up on Melodium's spawn, just not allowing them to move an inch. Meanwhile, you had Fantar just checking the flanks, doing what Buckets can do, and just play the AoE game, chucking bombs, chucking ink at the enemy spawn, making sure that no one can flank either here. Very well played from Close One here. But even still, Melodium had their moments as well. Of course, Kumu getting multiple multi-picks in their favor here, and managing to at least herald a very strong counter push for Melodium as well. See, 2 double picks at the same, like, within a short amount of time here, and maybe I can understand perhaps why people are complaining about paintbrush, like you said.
Yeah, it can just be absolutely nasty. I think it got a buff in its wind-up, I think, being a little bit shorter, so that's its main weakness as a weapon. So with that being made smaller, it's so much easier to get those picks, maybe even those trades without that delay. So definitely a very dominant game. I have to wonder if it necessarily would have gone the same if we saw... Listen, not every edit can play pencil. I am an edit who cannot and will not play pencil. But
yeah, that's fine.
Once again, when you're in these Charger favored places, you have your work cut out for you, because you saw their edit was doing a really good job of trying to take these off angles, not get picked off by that pencil, and really be in the thick of it. But it's hard to do that when you're the cooler user. When you go down, the rest of your team doesn't get the soda. So between a rock and a hard place, but maybe moving into Mahi Mahi, they might have a bit more of an advantage up against that pencil.
Yeah, definitely so. I feel like Headed does have a little bit more... I don't want to say it's necessarily an advantage per se, but it can thrive a lot better here on Mahi Mahi. Once again, we're seeing them stick to the same thing as before. So let's get into this.
We are not seeing the same thing. Instead of an edit, we are seeing a ball point. So Melodium going into this coolerless. Of note, they have not chosen to perhaps use something that replaces the cooler. They said, hey, we don't need it, but they might have needed it. They have a wipeout on them really, really quickly into this game. Close One dispatching of the members of Melodium quite quickly, and now you can really lock a team out pretty terribly here. So Melodium, especially Coolerless, is going to have to organize and figure out what to do ASAP.
Yeah, definitely. So that switch to the ballpoint could at least provide a little bit more pressure with that Inkjet, but without a cooler, things could get dicey, especially now that the entire map is one-way drops with the water level dropping, and it just allows Close One to just move in and out of the fights from all angles. They're in there like swimwear. Even when strikes come out, Melodium isn't getting a lot of paint on their hands, as Close One is getting very close to knocking this out here. Close One is just watching every single drop like their life depends on it, and they're just not gonna allow Melodium to get any more time left on their hands, and it'll just allow Close One to take the set 2-0. They're moving on in Alpha Bracket.
Yeah, and of note, unfortunately in this case it was not close for Melodium. Essentially a 100-0 push. I'm not quite sure they were able to necessarily put it in neutral from the first time that they painted over it. You see that game opening wipe there on Melodium, and of course, like we mentioned, they didn't have cooler, so it was even harder for them to stabilize and possibly, go forward and get those picks, maybe worrying a little bit less about how long they'd be out of the game. So when you have that initial wipeout, when you have people going down like you saw there, stabilizing when you're not able to, no one on the team is able to be back fast, becomes all the harder. So unfortunately, I think that will be it for Melodium. But a huge congratulations to Close One for having such a dominant game.
Yeah, definitely so here. Just not allowing them to go into Game 3. Of course, that is the end of the road for Melodium. Even still, they had a very, very good showing here, being able to take out Distinct as well as Iridescent Mirage and Die Hardened in Imgarten. Wow, that's another name I don't really know how to pronounce all too well here, but getting a look onto the rest of the bracket here. Late Call have won over Distinct, going up to face Bob C2 in round 2. Meanwhile, on the rest of the round 1 matches, Smiley Face has a game up on Inksoul's Maria. Kanden have already taken a 2-0 game against Black Balloons. They have their ticket punched into round 2, and in terms of who they're facing, LeBron and the Lakers and Cell do have a game up against Elira. So a lot of matches still going on in round 1. The fights are heating up. The action is getting hotter here in the Golden Paddling Pool, number 320. But much like some of the teams right now, I think this is now the end of the road for us, Sasu.
Yes. A quick congratulations to Late Call making it into that next round. I think that is one of the only upsets we have seen so far in a lot of the tourney, at least in this alpha bracket. But yeah, like you said, Frostix, I think that is going to be it for us. You're finally free to finish polishing off that slice of pizza.
It's not done. It's not done.
And you know what? Neither is the slice of pizza I'm about to get. As soon as I'm done here and I go outside, listen, there's $1.50 pizza in my neighborhood. Yeah. I'm getting 2 slices.
Yeah, you're getting 2? Damn, okay, that's one more than I have. So definitely enjoy your pizza. And of course, for those in stream, don't go anywhere. You're going to be hearing from Pat and Rocket next for the rest of this paddling pool in round 2 and onward. But before we inevitably make those switches, we got to do a little bit of housekeeping. Sasu, where can the good people of Twitch chat find you?
The people of Twitch can find me at Sasu in your pants. That's SASUIN, the letters UR, pants. You can find me on Blue Sky, practically any social media. If I have it, Discord, what have you, then that's going to be my tag. And importantly, where can the people find you, Frostix?
Well, you can see below me right here, Frostix Blue Sky Dodge Social. I don't really post there a lot, but you should still follow me there anyways. I swear I'll try getting to it. I am also on Twitter at TK_Frostix. You can find me on Discord at just Frostix, all lowercase. I'm fine with that. And if you want to support some of the work that I do, you should totally read my web novel Gap Year on Wattpad. I swear it's worth your time. That being said, I'm getting sidetracked. I say this like all the time. Anyways, we've got to get going, we've got pizza to eat, and you've got more Splatoon coming up. So don't go anywhere. Golding Paddling Pool is coming, it will be back shortly with a new set of commentators. So that's us from Dapple. See you guys later.
Bye-bye.
I don't even know. Let's go. You know. You guys watching? VDS drop? Okay. Nice, grabbing. 70 left side, or VDS. Backed up.
Going right side.
I'm jumping. I'm fucked.
Right.
2 right side, my bad. Hop right, hop right, hop right.
Watch out, watch out.
Nice go, good shit.
Nice.
Nice, that was it. Nice go.
Nice
Zipping
kill.
man, zipping man. Jump me. Oh, 70. What? One bar right on you. Take alert. Give it a minute, 70. Up, up.
Yeah, I'll go left. I'll go left.
Check. Yeah. Bring it on top, on top.
One on left,
70,
one on left, one on
70,
left.
yes, watch, hold. Up.
Yellow one.
Nice. Hold on.
Nice. Hold on, back lane.
Hold on. Fine. Hitting with you.
Nice. Just in.
Hitting.
Got
70, go on. Okay, yeah. Nice, okay, good shit. Okay. Sure, man.
And welcome back to the Golden Paddling Pool 320. I am Pat here with Rocket, ready to watch these wonderful teams. We are deep into Alpha Bracket with the best teams here to play some Splat Zones.
best teams to play for sure. Golden Paddling Pool, like you mentioned, number 320 here. Another wonderful milestone to join in on. And just like you were saying here, the best of the best remain. We are taking a look, I believe, at round 2. We are still in best of 3 here, but I believe we were looking at Condon versus LeBron and the Lakers plus Cell.
Yeah, that's two teams that we have been seeing in lots of weekly tournaments. That's how you make the best teams, by grinding these weeklies. And it's for the Golden Paddling Pools that it's going to stay off. Let me try to up better that way. You can really see the how much practice has paid off for both of these teams. Camden has been there for a while. LeBron and the Lakers per se, they've been doing very, very well these past few weeks, and I can't wait to see more of them.
Yeah, and I feel like these two teams are just familiar to me, at least in a variety of different ways. Condon have been a regular here. LeBron, the Lakers, like you mentioned, kind of done the same thing, but of course, always a really fun nickname to, or team name to look at here. Taking a look at weapon comps, nothing really truly out of the ordinary. Really, the only thing that sticks out to me on the side of LeBron, the Lakers plus Cell is going to be that Nautilus.
Yeah, that Nautilus. It's a great fighting weapon, provided you can have the good amount of paint by your teammates. Of course, at this level, your teammates will remember to paint. But right now, we have two teams that are still fighting for the zone, trying to take some control on Camden. Right now, pushing ahead of the zone, trying to get in, but there's already the tactical for LeBron, trying to defend. Zeke is forced to jump out. And it's going to be Camden retaking control of the zone, but they've already lost a few players, Rocket.
Yeah, you see Zeke managing to get a nice pick onto Silver coming through that jump out. They will get traded out here. Condon goes 3 players down in total, just left to their E-leader to try to see if they can stay alive. Bake just has to run out of there here as the rest of Condon tries to see if they can make something happen and try to hold firm. But unfortunately, I believe the Stamper does go down from Condon, so that push will go into the favor of LeBron and the Lakers plus Cell as they maintain a strong control, managing to get more and more picks, Pat.
Yeah, I mean, LeBron and Lakers really holding well. And then, oh, that's an early drop from the Zap. You don't want to do that. LeBron are going to keep their control with the Crab Tank and the Tactical advantage. They are in a very, very good position, Rocket.
Very great position indeed here. Now down to the 40-point mark. LeBron, the Lakers plus Cell already have the initial opening pick, but both sides have actually lost their Stamper here. 3v3 fight will be happening. The Knot will take that fight over the Splashdown. 20 ticks left on the LeBron and Lakers plus Cell. The jumps are coming in from Condon here, but will there be enough paint to control? Bake just trying to see if they can find that opening pick. Now down to the 8-point mark. They will find a pick. 2 players in total fall. Now 3 in total for LeBron and the Lakers plus Cell, but there's not enough paint.
Just a little bit too late on the side of Camden, and the LeBron's per Cell are going to take game number 1. This is not what I was necessarily expecting, but hey, LeBron, Lakers per Cell, as I said, they've been doing better and better these past few weeks, and it's paying off. They're now really taking games off Camden, and I mean, that was incredibly strong, very much dominant of the game.
Yeah, and it just shows their strong holding ability. The LeBron and the Lakers plus Cell, they were able to take control of the zone early and never really give Condon any space to come back from. I mean, you see like constantly on the attempted retakes by Condon, they just always lost a player or two, and that caused the retake to kind of lose some steam there at the very end. Condon had an opportunity to get into the zone, getting a 3-player down situation, but just too little too late. I do think that is just because of the nature of their comp, though, running that E-leader instead of the pen. Yeah.
I mean, that E-leader on Crab Leg is very much a great pick, a good idea, I think. I think the problem was lots of Camden, as you said, like to run in, but that Nautilus that you talked about was able to really punish them from going forward. That's what the weapon is best at. And Camden was struggling to fight against that Nautilus, it feels. So if they find a way to counter it, maybe they do better. Going on to Umami, I mean, we're in best of 3 right now. It's back to the wall for Camden.
And maybe this might give them a little bit more of an opportunity to kind of keep some staying power now that E-Leader is replaced by a Pen, just for more paint control here. And the difference with Umami Ruin zones, as you can see, and as you know, it's a 2-zone map. So we can see a lot more sustained fighting here, a lot more grueling fighting, if you will.
Yeah, that also means the Zap is switching to a Splash, which gives Kandan a Crab Tank on this map. A Crab Tank can do a lot. We already see it working. Very nice moves. Kandan still fighting for the zone, though. It's a double zone. You need to paint both sides, and Kandan are going to take control.
Yeah, nice hold there, but both zones kind of just switching hands there. Eventually, Condon will get the first strong control onto that zone here. You do see the Stamper now pulling out that Zip Caster, just seeing if they can try to cause any havoc here. You see Mia on this left side just trying to poke with that S-Blast. Silver Zipcast will end. The Stamper on the other side of LeBron and the Lakers cell does go down here, so this reaches a full stall out as another pick will go into the favor of Condon.
Yeah, Camden very much taking control of this. It's LeBron and the Lakers' turn to really struggle to push, to really lose a few too many players as they're trying to take ground. And very nice moves right there by Camden, who are maintaining their presence, maintaining the pressure, and there's only 25 points left on the zone.
Yeah, and then S-Blast finally forced out on the side of Condon here, down to the 22-point mark, but it looks like LeBron and the Lakers Placel are trying to find an opening here. Maybe not if you see that Splash managing to get a kill into leg here. 15 ticks left, now down to the 10-tick mark. Now a reverse of fate here. If LeBron and the Lakers Placel aren't able to get control of one of these zones, this game will end in a quick knockout, and unfortunate Splashdown falls straight into the abyss, as we're seeing a complete opposite game right there, as Condon are the one to take that 100-0 knockout.
Yeah, and we really saw two teams take turn to take control of the map, not let the other team push back in. And I mean, penalty was not applied in either of this game, and neither team was really able to push back onto the center of the map. So very much right now, it's all going to be decided by our game number 3, which will be what we would be playing. Barnacle and Dime.
Barnacle and Dime, a very open map here. Maybe we could very well much see, Pat, the same comps coming up from both teams here. Very, very similar kind of structure to how Umami Ruins is made. I mean, both teams, if you have that Splash Crab Tank, very, very, very good on this map. Just jumping straight into it here, I would expect the same things coming up from both sides, but now with both teams having a game under their belts, both in knockout situations here, this is a do or die time.
Yeah, and Rocket, I just noticed, these teams are going into the next game incredibly fast. They know exactly what... I mean, they haven't changed their weapons much outside of going away from the leader. But they really want to get in. They know what the plan is already. They don't need to discuss it more.
And you see right there, both Crab Tanks on each other's plats, just trying to poke away at each other here. Both sides initially lose a player, but now the numbers do swing into Condon's favor, who will quickly try to take that plat. Another trade will occur there, but players falling from left and right. Condon, yes, do have control of the zone, but they're starting to lose a little bit of that momentum they gained at the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, on this map, of all maps, you really don't want to be pushed out of the zone. Bake getting the double with the pen right there. And it's LeBron Lakers right now. Their Crab Tank is their last line of defense, trying to hold, trying to allow the rest of the team to come back. But Camden has scored 50 points already.
Yeah, but here's that zone flip. A nice pick by Zeke onto that S-Blast, I believe now. Silver on the other side, the other Stamper here, just trying to see if they can get that equalizing pick. The Zipcaster causing a lot of chaos here. You do see this Crab does go out for the side of Condon, now forcing these players to run on the side of LeBron and the Lakers here. Both sides losing a player. The numbers swing into the favor of Condon here. Right back at it. Silver back in business on this plat, just trying to see if they can cause some havoc and get that chip damage here. But now, finally, LeBron and the Lakers start falling left and right, as now Condon have tried to solidify their push. But as I say that, 3 players go down.
And Bake is running away with that pencil, able to save their life. LeBron and the Lakers Placel have taken control over the zone now. Now it's their turn to really hold, and they don't have any penalty. All they need to do is stay in control right there, as Kandan is already preparing their push.
For sure. Now Silver just again trying to see if they can get something going on this Stamper here. LeBron and the Lakers are close from getting this lead back away from Condon here. Yamal here on this Nautilus, not able to get that pick on that right street, and ultimately that will cause Condon to lose that lead. Now down to the 40-point mark here. Time is running out for Condon to see if they can at least contest this. You see the Crab going out here, Pat. You see Mia on this left side with that S-Blast, just seeing if they can get something going, but the zone will flip into the favor of Condon ultimately, but it will just only force the penalty point, it looks like.
Penalty was applied, but Kandan still needs to get back the zone, and it's 2v2 right now. Silver trying to go in, wanting that splat on the pencil. It's going to be a trade. That's a huge trade for Kandan, who are taking back the zone now. And it's not over. The S-Blast going in. One splat and a Booyah Bomb. They get punished by the Nautilus, but was a great move. And Kandan are taking control of the zone, really, with a Crab of their own.
A very scrappy tug of war so far, Pat. Now 2 players fall in total for LeBron and the Lakers here. Condon now look poised to try to take this lead right back from LeBron and the Lakers. What's up? Regained that lead, I should say, here, as now the points are ticking down. No penalty to really worry about here. Lead is taken. The pick will be taken by Condon here, now retaking LeBron and the Lakers Placel in a 2v3, I believe here. 2 players fall for Condon in total here, but there needs to be paint onto the zone. You just see that spot. Really trying to paint. They ultimately will be able to hold onto that zone in a very, very tug-of-war type fight. Condon overall take that one 2-1.
That was a close game 3 with both teams able to really hold the zone, establish themselves. We have similar play styles between these two teams that like to really hold the space with the fights. But in the end, Kandan, with a bit more experience, with a bit more firepower, were able to really hold the zone once more and get the KO. But LeBron and the Lakers were still very nice tournament by there. That's going to be the end of it, though, because this is Golden Paddling Pool. This is a single elimination.
Really nicely fought by LeBron and the Lakers Placel, though. They had a really, really good retake there, and they were able to kind of recreate a little bit of that success they had in Game 1, being able to take that lead, being able to kind of stagger out Condon there, but just unfortunately they weren't able to hold it much longer, as finally the so-called metaphorical wall just showed its cracks, and eventually Condon were just able to get in and then get back and snatch that lead for their own here. They will move on to semifinals, and their opponent, who just finished a 2-0 sweep over Happy Face, is going to be Vanguard in the upper semis. But we're not going to be taking a look at that one. We're going to be taking a look at the other match between Bob and Close One.
Yep, we'll take a short break and we'll be right back.
And we are back really, really quickly here. Very short break. As Pat already said, of course, my name is Rocket. Of course, we're still right back here into Golden Paddling Pool number 320. And like I mentioned earlier, we had Bob versus Close One.
Yeah, Bob and Close One, they were waiting for us already. The whole lobby was there, so we just had to come in, select the maps. And here are the maps for you. We'll start with Robo Roman, and this time, Rocket, We have a bit more time. We're in best of 5. We'll get to see more of these two teams.
Yes, and what teams we have for us. Bob made up of very, very familiar names, at least to me, and I'm sure the EU community. You have Nick, Synapse, Bulba, and Devin in 4K. Close one has KitKat, Poultry, Alwo, and Fantar. They're very, very notable names from both sides here, and you mentioned here Splat Zone's Robo Ramen will be our first map. I can't imagine, or at least guess, some weapons from Bob here. We'll see a Slosher coming out from Nick, maybe a Dread. I've heard them experimenting with that a little bit, but obviously Devin will be coming out with that E-Leader as always.
Yeah, you can always expect the leader from Devin 4K. KitKat is going to bring the pencil foe, so that's another battle of the Chargers. We saw that in the previous round, so let's see it again. And I'm glad to see a Poulet called Billie Jean with the mini.
Yes, and that hammer can prove very, very dangerous here. Speaking of hammer, it does help with the chip onto Devin there in the back. 2 players down, went down there for Bob. Now the players all falling for Bob, as now it is a complete wipeout, Pat, as Close One off to a blazing start here, managing to take this elbow space in record time.
Yeah, Close One opening very, very strong right there. And already putting themselves in front of the zone. They lost their pencil, and Bulba is activating the Booyah Bomb, but that Booyah Bomb gets them splatted. Close One holding the zone, not losing ground. Okay, as I say that, the zone is almost split. Every special is thrown by Bob, but Bob lost 2 players. They're not getting the zone. Rocket!
Yeah, and a nice snipe by Devin. Oh, nice snipe by Devin ultimately leads Bob to finally get the zone there. Really nicely done from what looks like a very, very great possibility at Close Ones, just getting that straight knockout here. But you see Bob does lose one of their players. Now both sides actually losing their initial players. Can Close Ones get back into the zone in a timely manner?
Well, right now it's Close One getting back control over the zone. They have such an aggressive playstyle. They don't hesitate going in, and it's working so well. Very nice bomb by the bucket right there. And Close One is back in control of the zone, Rocket.
Yes, very strong retake there. However, it does look like they're starting to lose a little bit of momentum here. Eventually, Close Ones will get back into the zone here, but Bob is threatening them, throwing that Booyah Bomb, managing to take control there. A nice direct by Bulba on that S-Blast here. Billie Jean managing to get one with the burst bomb. Now trying to hunt for Devin here, trying to get rid of that E-Leader, trying to look for more. We'll find Bulba, we'll find a 3rd in total, and we'll basically win that retake for Close One single-handedly.
Incredible hammer by the mini right there, and Bob repainting the zone with the strikes, trying to get in. They lost the fight, but they managed to keep the momentum, keep their presence right there. And Nick is going in with the bucket, getting the splat, so they need to take control of the zone.
Yeah, here comes another hammer by Billie Jean. This time, unfortunately, is canceled out. 2 fall in total, actually, from both sides here. But Bob is in control of the zone. Not any penalty now to worry about. You do have to worry about the shot. It is eventually taken out and dealt with, snuffed out. Billie Jean, another hammer will not land here. And Bob are looking like they are back in business now, threatening that Close One lead that looked very, very safe.
Yeah. And we only have a few seconds left before the lead is taken, but as I say that, Close One decided it's not going to be close, decided they're going to apply penalty, but that's all they do. They're forced out of the zone again. Bob, still in control of the map, are really holding their ground, and they don't have that much penalty applied. Fantar, though, getting a double. That's going to allow Close One to attack again. Can they paint the zone, though?
I mean, you have the Trip Strikes coming out from Bob. The Trip Strikes also available for Close Ones if they use it here, but 2 players down for both sides will lead to Bob here, potentially holding on and taking that lead now in total here. A very slim lead at that. Bob here just trying to see if they can prevent penalty points, just trying desperately to paint over the zone. The players from Close Ones just kind of seeing if they can just jump in. Devin will, I believe, get a snipe there, but now the zone will be in favor of Bob. Ooh.
Oh, and it's a wipeout for close one. They have 1 minute left to get rid of their penalty and get the lead back, but they started that minute pretty well, Rocket. And there's already 2 down onto Bob again. Oh!
Yeah, oh, 3 in total now. Now, close ones are looking very, very promising. Now, they can get that lead switch of their own, Pat. Now, almost out of that penalty. Now, down to the 40-second mark on the clock. But they're trying to just end it here. They're trying to just end it in a knockout. Trades in terms of specials will go on both sides, investing trip strikes here. Close ones now down to the 10-point mark. Now, ticking down here. Bob needs to get into the zone soon. You see so much orange paint in the middle of the zone. Not enough will be put onto the zone for Bob. And close one will take a very close one in game 1.
Yeah, that was a close game number 1. And, I mean, it really could have gone both ways. Bob and close one, they both teams really relied on pop-offs from their players being able to get double, triple kills and get momentum off of that, or start momentum from that. And it was constant fight around the zone all the time, which made it so fun to watch, but also very much risky for both of these teams.
Yeah, in this level now, in this level of the tournament, little mistakes can really snowball out of proportion and go out of control here. And when one individual play can change everything. I mean, we saw Billie Jean, I mean, right on cue, right there, perfectly timed right there, managing to basically get a triple with the hammer, open things up for close one to get that retake, and that was really pivotal here to try to see if they can hold on to that. Bob had a monumentous effort here at the end to just try to see if they can come back, but eventually close one's lead was just too much to bear, and eventually they were just able to close that one out. And now game 2 awaits us, which is Spot Zone's Mako.
And close one, right before the last minute, they let Bob take the lead because they knew if they regrouped, if they prepared better, they could get that huge push that got the wipeout onto Bob, that got them the last minute. They were in full control. And that's how you play the game. Sometimes leaving the lead, letting the other team score the points is what gives you the victory. And we're already back into the next map. That's going to be Mako Mart. And there's a switch to a Luna Blaster.
I love that pick here, Pat. I mean, this map is basically kind of made for that. A lot of ledges, a lot of corners. That is the geography of Mako Mart here. Unfortunately, you do have close ones losing their first player off the rip, but quickly being traded out by that Luna, so to speak here. Both sides, 2 players down in total. Both coolers will be placed here, so now it's just a painting battle between both sides to see who can get first control of zone. And it does look like there's a lot more orange here, so it does look like close ones could potentially get it. No, eventually they will, but they do lose 2 players.
Yeah, and close one right now. Already on the zone, but forced out. Bob answers. Bob getting themselves here. Ooh, and that's 3 down onto close one. KitKat is forced out, waiting for the rest of the team before they can prepare a push. Very nice control by Bob, who have the whole map for themselves.
You almost have trip strikes on the side of close ones, though, just to see if they can try to retake this. They do have to wait for a little bit here, because they do have their shot going down initially. Their trip strikes, their slosher does go down as well, so again, staggered a little bit. Billie Jean goes in with that hammer. We know how dangerous they can be with that hammer. However, the point total is still ticking down for Bob, who is down 2 players, yes, but the zone still very, very contested between both sides. Just Devin left standing for Bob, and now that is a delayed wipeout in favor of close one.
Yeah, close one really got the push that they wanted to get, but can they keep the defense? Bob is already back into the fight. And they're winning that fight. Bob is going to retake the zone as KitKat is moving away.
I feel like the theme of the set so far, Pat, has been very, very fast retakes. Both sides barely giving up any ground here and have been very, very quick at taking back that ground. A very nice initial pick here from the slosher on close ones here. Has trip strikes available to try to contest that zone. You do have to worry about that Booyah Bomb on the other side in the hands of Boba. No longer taken out. Is the S-Blast here now. Paint all the orange in mid, just trying to see if they can keep that control for close ones here. Wavebreaker will go out to at least stall them a little bit, but both sides just trading blows for blow.
Yep. I mean, both teams know how to run forward and get splat, which is how you want to play the game right now. Let's see what the next fight is going to give. Bob is fighting for that zone 2 versus 2, and Bob is still in control right here with one extra splat. It looks like close one had to move away. Ooh!
Devin somehow managing to get that pick
Nice.
onto the bucket on that left side. Really nicely done. Close quarters E-leader. Billie Jean, though, on this left side, getting two there. Potentially a third with the hammer. No, eventually traded out, but that could have proved very, very dangerous there. Now, Bob looking like they can get out of their penalty unless you have this bucket saying something about it. Fantar on this right side, just trying to see if they can just get anything going with the slosher. A 2v2 is happening on this right stack. It will ultimately go to the favor of Bob, though, as that's a 3-player down situation for close one.
The penalty was applied onto Bob, but that's not much penalty still, because we're past like the 2 minutes left into the game, and Bob still has the control of the map. Close one need the next push to work, and they need it now.
Yeah, they need to go in eventually. That Booyah Bomb might be proving a little dangerous, though, as yet again, another 3-player down situation in favor of Bob here. The penalty points ticking down. Billie Jean seeing if they can be that catalyst here, going into the flame with a hammer. Manages to find one. Ace cancel out, though, but look at the zone pad. It is all purple, and with a resounding wipeout, Bob will get the equalizer now, making the set 1-1.
I mean, we have two teams that keep fighting, and on here, we saw close one bring the Luna Blaster, which for this map I think is a great pick, because there are so many different ledges, so many different spots where the Luna's range is not that much of an issue, and its AoE, its ledge camping is so useful. But that didn't work. Bob had the S-Blast to counter the Luna. It worked better. And right now we are 1-1 with both teams able still to fight. And I feel like it's very tiny little things. Who feels better on this specific map that's going to decide it.
Yeah, and speaking of which, we'll be moving now to Crab Lake Capital. We just saw this earlier in the previous set, Pat, and this time, instead, we will have Devin on the E-leader here, and you kind of touched on it a little bit in the previous set of kind of the strength of E-leader on Crab Lake. Just because of the nature of the map, the amount of greats you kind of have to operate with and kind of have to play around, that's definitely something that I think Devin can kind of take advantage of. For the side of Bob as well, I can kind of also think that you kind of want to go back to that mini splat link here. The Luna did work pretty well in game 2 there, just because of the nature of the map, like you mentioned here. Yeah. But I mean, the main reason why you bring that mini splat link here is for that pain, and you still get to keep that hammer.
Yeah, and that hammer was working very well, especially on an open map. I want to go back to what you said about the Elite. Both of these teams have cracked a Charger player in their rank. If KitKat or Devin gets in position above the zone on these grades, like that's going to be what decides the game. How can you keep your Charger where they are, and how can you move them away? And a great way to move a Charger is a Rapid Blaster Pro.
Interesting choice here. I like it, though, maybe to just try to contest Bulba on the other side, who has been doing wonders on that S-Blast here. Speaking of Bulba, though, they're the first ones to go down in mid here, so player advantage in close one's favor. The Zuka quickly goes out in combination with that Rapid Blaster there. Really nicely done there. Really nice pinch that leads close ones to get first control of the zone.
Yeah, and close one right there. Good control over the map, as you said. They really won the first fight, and they used that well. Now, can Bob push? Can Bob get in? Bob right now fighting for their own grades. Ooh!
3 players down situation now leads to Bob trying to get this retake here. You have the bucket, managing to at least stall it a little bit, getting those first few points a little bit more points on the board, I should say, there, as that could prove very beneficial later down the line. Unfortunately, though, those ones just have to worry about getting this retake. You do have one player going down. However, you do take out that S-Blast, so that Booyah Bomb will be delayed a little bit here. Just tough fighting right under this ledge. A Synapse does fall here, but now both sides investing a lot of specials. You saw Zuka being popped, Cooler being invested. Now the Booyah Bomb will go in as well, but Close Ones do have the control back, but not much for longer, as they will get wiped out.
They painted the zone, but they got punished for it, and now Bob are in control of the map. Bob, not much penalty, are already back to painting, back to holding, and making points. That's pretty rough for Close One, who are using the strikes trying to paint the zone and move the charger, but it's not working. They lost 2 players and the lead.
Yeah, in these zone maps, lockouts are very, very dangerous. You don't want to throw bodies at things, and you don't want to go down on your retakes, especially there. Devin forcing the issue, managing to get 2 players. We talked about how deadly Devin can be on this map, and we're seeing it play out right there. Almost finding another one. Now 10 ticks left. Can they hold out? Now 5 ticks left. 3 players in total go for Bob here. A monumentous effort at the very end for Close Ones to at least force the penalty.
And Nick punishing all of Bob for overcommitting. I mean, all of Close One. Close One had to stand there just to paint the zone, just to apply extra paint and some penalty onto Bob, but Bob kept control of the map. Now Close One, they bought themselves enough time to get another push, but Bob are not stopping.
They are not at all. Trip strikes are available for Bob here. Will invested to just kind of counteract the other trip strikes here. 15 penalty points left. The pen does go down, and Close One, 3 players in total now for Close One's fall here. That is the wipeout. That will be the final nail into the coffin of game 3, as Bob take a more comfortable game there now, setting it to game point and set point for them.
Yes, set point. One more game, and they get to the finals of this golden paddling pool. Very, very nice move, but I mean, we've seen Close One. They're not done. They still have more to do. This was the Elite map. This was the map where you want to have the longest range possible, and Devin brought that with the Elite scope. Now going into Mahi Mahi Resort, that's still a good map for Charger, but having extra range is not as important, and I feel like a pencil will answer it very, very strongly.
Yes, I think so too, but I think what both these maps have in similar, when I mean the game that we just saw in Crab Leg and the one we're gonna see in Mahi Mahi, both maps have very similar retakes and snowballing potential, in terms of your retakes need to be very, very intentional. They need to be precise, and if not, they can kind of snowball out of control, kind of like Bob was able to do there, create that lockout situation. Let's see if it can repeat here though, because I wouldn't imagine there would be any major changes. Billie Jean will go back to that Luna Neo though for some more close range fighting, and of course still keeping with that hammer.
Yep, that's the only change we're seeing right now. So we'll see how these 2 teams are able to do, how that opening fight goes. It looks like the paint is for Close One, but Bob are already right there. Bob losing a play on Close One, opening very strongly with control, but losing too many players. I think only the 2 Charger was the last 2 standing in the middle of the map at some point.
Yes, you have Devin here just trying to see if they can take an aggressive angle here, try to get that opening pick. Both sides did lose one of their players earlier in this fight, so it is just overall scrummage for the mid here. Individual fights just happening everywhere across the map. 1-for-1 trades are to be had, but Close Ones will eventually take that stronger control over zone, and to the victor go the spoils. What are the spoils? Being able to kind of camp under these ledges. A hammer throw almost catches a couple players of Bob there, but still, the points are ticking down for Close One.
Yeah, Close One very much holding pretty strong. As Bob, I mean, Bob managed to take back control over the zone, apply penalty, but we're still fighting lots of specials. Flying elbow, last player for Close One forced out, able to save himself. And I mean, Bob right now taking control. It looks like they're in a great position to get the lead.
Devin almost found a pick there, despite the aggressive angle, only protected by that respawn shield here. Synapse with the cooler in, manages to find one on that left side as well, and it is now Bob who's kind of flipped the script on this entire game here. Almo, just the last player standing, will help find one, but unfortunately does go down here. Billie Jean kind of caught in a very difficult position, has Hammer out, does manage to find one on the Bulba here, just trying to be the catalyst, finds two in total, but it doesn't look like it'll be enough for Close Ones to get in as they have one final retake attempt.
Yeah, and Bob right now looking to punch their ticket to the finals. Close One fighting as much they can, denying it for now, applying penalty, but they didn't manage to take control. KitKat, the last squid, standing is still moving forward with a pencil, but they'll have to fight next to the zone for control, and Almo going in, punished instantly.
If you are in Devin's sightlines, you will get picked off. You have to respect that E leader if you're on the side of Close Ones. However, both sides, you do see Bob losing 2 players, including Devin. And now 3 players in total. Now Close Ones have a great opportunity to get in Bulba. The last player is just forced out here, and retakes are really difficult to do. And we saw how much time and how much specials resources that Close Ones had to invest to get in. Now it is their turn to force a similar lockout situation. You do see a 1-for-1 trade. Both sides losing a bucket. Now a 2-for-1 as you see Billie Jean moving in with that hammer and try to secure things. They will find a pick here, but Bob retake the zone.
Yeah, I mean, the zone stays for Bob. KitKat is splatted as well. Almo, last squid again, trying to dance but getting sniped. It's not working. Bob are still in control of the zone, of the map, of the numbers. And Close One right now struggling. They have the strikes ready. They need these strikes to hit the zone.
Yes, but they do lose Billie Jean off rip there. Now a 3v4 retake will be had. The zone will be flipped again, giving them another second wind, giving them a little bit more fight. But you gotta think, Pat, how long can they sustain this here as Bob continuously finding opportunities? One pick will be had. Billie Jean will find the counter though, trying to find something happen with this. Luna does go down here, and now the penalty is almost gone for Bob.
Yeah, you can't paint with a Luna, and right now Close One only have a few seconds left. They're trying their best, but it's too late. The strikes are neutralizing, but they're not taking. That's 3-1 for Bob.
A very, very close one there. Bob just able to kind of hold a lot stronger than Close Ones. I mean, we saw Close Ones with very, very quick retakes there. Unfortunately, I believe it was the second or third retake. They started losing some momentum there. They went a player down, and they were retaking with lesser numbers, and they were just losing those trades, unfortunately, there, as Bob just a little bit better at kind of holding and poking at those ledges. We saw Devin here continue their success from the previous Crab Leg map and kind of get some key picks here as well, just chilling on that plat and just basically just taking space by pure existing.
Yep, very nice moves by Bob. Get the victory, get the 3-1. And yeah, we will not see Brine Water Springs tonight. We're going to go on to the finals. Vanguard, our seed number 1, is waiting for us already. So we'll set up the lobby and we will be right back. And welcome back to the finals of this Golden Paddling Pool 370. I am Pat, here with Rocket, ready to watch our seed number 1 and our seed number 2. Everything going according to plan, Rocket. Vanguard versus Bob.
Yeah, and I talked about it in the previous set that there's going to be a lot of familiar names in that semifinals one. I mean, take a look at who's here in finals. We have Vanguard, who we all know and love, Mikey, Phoenix, Jay, and Rocky, just very, very known players here. And they've had a pretty dominant run themselves, Vanguard, really only dropping one match against Condon in the previous semifinals, taking that 1-3-1. So, I mean, both teams have had a similar road there. Both had a bye in round 1, so they really have only been able, they've only had to play 2 sets before now, so we'll just have to wait and see what we have in store for us. I believe game 1 we're going to start off with, yet again, is going to be Mako Mart.
Yeah, Mako Mart, very much a classic of Splat Zones that was chosen by Bob, so this is why we're seeing it again. And yeah, we'll see how these two teams do. Vanguard coming in uniform with a splash tag, love it.
Yeah, the camaraderie there. Let's see if Bob can find an answer to that. It's very standard comps here, kind of from both sides here. Both will be having that S-Blast, always really nice on this map, and both also with another weapon in the Stamper and Bucket. But initially, we do see a 1-for-2 trade happening here with Vanguard. We have a player advantage, 3 players in total fall for Bob, and that is a delayed wipeout off the rip.
Yeah, Vanguard opening very, very strong right there. And setting themselves up for control. Now you know what to do. You can battle edge with the Stamper. But already their blaster is down. Awaken on the pencil right there is trying to hold, but forced out by the strikes. It looks like Bob are able to push back in, apply penalty. Now can they? Ooh, well, they can set themselves up on the zone.
They will indeed here. Devin just chilling on this left side. However, they do see 2 of their comrades fall in front of them. They do on the other side. Vanguard has gotten that cooler now to kind of really work with it. I believe that's a delayed wipeout now in favor of Vanguard. Awaken just trying to see if they can keep this left side control painted here, as Phoenix on the right side just trying to support that S-Blast, trying to move forward, trying to find that chipping power, as the penalty points are almost gone for Vanguard.
Yeah, Vanguard very much holding pretty strong their control again, but here comes the strikes to repaint the zone. The strikes are able to neutralize but not do much more. Phoenix has the crab tank ready, but with 2 players down, Vanguard is kind of forced to move back, but that crab tank will only be there defensively to allow the rest of the team to jump back in, and it's splatted.
Devin with a really nice shot on that E-Leader, I believe, managing to take the better of that. The S-Blast finds the better of the Stamper on that left side, and now Vanguard are continuing to lose members, just kind of staggering here a little bit. You have Awakens just trying to see if they can stabilize things for Vanguard, but Bob have been able to kind of push in with a grueling force here. They need to take this control on this right side, which you do see the S-Blast already doing here, trying to take that fight. Unfortunately, Bulba does go down here, but I mean, Bob will take that lead.
Yeah, very nice lead for Bob. They lose a few players though. Can they hold the zone? The jumps are coming back in. This could work very well for Bob right there. Vanguard in difficulty. They need to push in. They need to get to the zone. Only 10 ticks left. And there's 2 down. Bob are holding strong, Rocket. It's game number 1 for Bob.
Really nicely done there. And China just shows their resilience. I mean, we've seen it during that previous set that they had, but Bob this time again proving it once again that they are a resilient bunch. It doesn't matter how much they down, it doesn't matter if they lose that initial fight, they are slow and meticulous in being able to get in. And when I say meticulous, I don't mean like they're taking too long, I mean that they are always precise, making sure that they get to those key positions, those key positions, those key picks in a very, very efficient manner. And I mean, we saw it right there.
Yeah, I mean, efficient is the word. Both of these teams know exactly what to do, exactly where to be. But Bob able to have a better holds, and Vanguard when they managed to take the zone, they didn't really manage to keep Bob away. They would lose one extra player when they didn't want to, and that cost them in the long run. Which means that's game 1 for Bob, and now we're going to Hammerhead Bridge. Who chose that? Vanguard chose that, and I mean, they chose that before the tournament. They probably didn't think they'd be facing Devin with it.
Yeah, this is going to be a very, very good E-Leader map, I think. Another map that I think follows the Mahi zones trend of very lockout heavy. I mean, you think that Mahi forces lockouts, you have not seen Hammerhead. Very little room for error on retakes here, so you really have to use your specials wisely. Cooler already placed for Bob, but both sides will lose that key player here. You do see Vanguard, I believe, did switch over to that Rapid Blaster. The splash, though, the last player standing, I believe that's Phoenix from Vanguard, just trying to stay alive, trying to get something going here, but they will too fall, and Vanguard are delay wiped.
Yeah, I mean, Bob taking a very nice first control. Vanguard are struggling tonight to fight this Bob team that's getting results. Oh!
Really nice pick there. And you see now Bob already down to the 60-point mark. I did mention how lockout heavy this map can be, and I mean, we see it right there. You set up the E-Leader Devin in mid there. You have to dislodge them. Phoenix's Crab could be that start, though. Nice pick onto Bulba here, but will be it enough to take back the zone?
I mean, Bob, they're holding. They're still holding the zone. Penalties not applied. And Vanguard are struggling to push back in. 25 ticks means they need to push now. They don't have much time. And on this map, it's easier said than done. 3 players down, it's only the pencil. And that's game number 2 for Bob. And there's no double elimination. There's no bracket reset. Bob is on tournament point already.
And what was that? That was 2 games in the matter of, like, I feel 4 minutes there. That match barely lasted more than a minute and a half, maybe barely even more than 2 minutes, if you can even call it that. But I mean, this map is very, I say it once, and I don't mean to sound like a broken record, but I mean, very lockout heavy when we saw it right there. Just unable to get in was Vanguard. Not really any space to kind of work with, as Bob just were able to keep up paint pressure and really give them no room to operate.
Yeah, I mean, Bob has taken control of both of these games, especially that second one that was on a Vanguard's pick. Bob very much in control right there, showing their dominance. And now Vanguard, they're back to the wall. But I've seen Vanguard there. They're not done. That's the kind of top team that knows, even though it's the finals of the Golden Tournament, they know how to keep fighting, how to adapt, and we'll see if they're able to counter that Bob that looks absolutely invincible right now.
Yeah, you have Mikey on Vanguard, still sticking with that Rapid Blaster to kind of counteract the S-Blast on the other side. Both teams sticking with the same comp they had previous match here, though, but now on a different map. I think this map would be a little bit more favored to a little bit more balanced type playing here. Lockouts are still a dangerous thing to worry about, but not as predominant on Hammerhead Bridge. You do see Hagelfish kind of more as that classic zones map that you want to work with here, but I mean, Vanguard now have that first control of zone, but Bulba on this S-Blast is trying to threaten and find any picks on that left side.
Yeah, right now, Bob in control of the zone again and taking a few more splats, forcing Vanguard away. Vanguard very much in trouble, still not finding a way to push in.
Yeah, you have Phoenix here on this Crab on top of the 10s being able to kind of poke and chip away, and that chip damage has led to 2 picks here, Pat. You see the members of Vanguard trying to take this space, but you do have the pen going down initially. We'll lose some stability here, but I mean, a quick double from the Stamper will bring it right back for Vanguard here. Now a strong control into zone, and now with the lead.
Nice moves by Raiki. Vanguard, as you say, in the lead, in control of the whole map, establishing themselves there. Phoenix is pretty close to a Crab Tank as well. That Crab Tank is already deployed, and with 2 down onto Bob, it looks like Vanguard found the answer, adapted. We see here Mickey with that Rapid Blaster Pro absolutely doing the business of stopping everything on that ledge. And Bob, with only 20 ticks, are rushing to the zone. Ooh.
Nice by Phoenix to kind of chip through that Booyah Bomb here, as Vanguard still somehow, okay, finally does lose control of the zone here, but I mean, what a lead that they've had and built up, Pat, here now, as Bob tries to push in. They don't have much penalty to kind of really work through here, but I mean, zone is still very contested between both sides.
Yeah, it is not over. Bob are fighting for this one, are coming back in, but Vanguard taking control back of the zone. Devin is going to apply the respawn punisher on someone, but I mean, we're still fighting for the zone, Rocket.
Yeah, still just neutral here. Both sides just trying to see if they can find some crack in the other's defense. 3 members of Vanguard converge on the right side, managing to get that opening pick onto the Slosher. They will be back fast with trip strikes though, but yet again, both sides just trying to feel each other out. Vanguard have had some success in this game so far, but that might be the opening that Bob has kind of been looking for. They now have strong control over zone. Not really much penalty to kind of work through, but the specials are there.
Yeah, the specials are coming. Mickey trying to maintain the fight to the right side. Phoenix helping, but only getting a trade. That's a lot of players down. 2 versus 2 for the zone right now. And Vanguard are still pushing in, retaking the zone, applying penalty. With 1 minute and 40 seconds left in the game, Vanguard are still in the lead.
Yeah, Awaken in the middle of the zone, just trying to see if they can keep and maintain that space. The Pen's strength there, you do see Cooler on the other side from Bob, though, now giving a little bit more fighting power. No, 3 players in total will fall. Mikey with that pick onto that Zap player will now give Vanguard a little bit of an opening here to now try to see if they can chip through that penalty. They are almost through, as Bob has one final retake attempt here. They do have strikes to kind of work with here, but Bulba is taken out.
I mean, it's very much Vanguard taking control of this game, but Bob are still in there, painting the zone as much as they can. We have really a tug of war for the zone. Vanguard gets the zone back, a few more points, last minute of the game, and Bob are not able to paint the zone. Vanguard have a crab tank, are holding right there. Everybody paints, even the E-Meter paints, but it's not enough. Vanguard puts a point on the board.
And like you mentioned, they stay alive in this one, but they gotta take it one game at a time. Remember, all it takes is Bob to just win one more and they win that button. But this is the Vanguard that we know. This is the Vanguard that is able to kind of hold on to that paint, and they were able to win most, if not all, those kind of like neutral, not very flashy holds, but I mean very efficient in terms of just being able to kind of win that paint battle. I mean, we saw it there a numerous amount of times, Pat, the tug of war we kind of both kept alluding to, of just both teams kind of just desperately trying to throw paint on the ground. You see it right here, like everybody on the map just painting over this small area of the map, just basically playing mini turf war. But ultimately Vanguard was able to take that one. Can they keep up the success and make it 2 in a row? We're now moving to game 4.
Yeah, game 4, and let's get right in there. It's going to be Brine Water Springs. No change in composition for Vanguard, no change in composition for Bob as well, as both teams know the job, know what to do. I feel like Vanguard have the tools to really challenge Devin right there, between the Blaster and the Stamper. It's just a matter of using these tools.
Yes, you do see the 3 players in total fall for Vanguard, just left to Phoenix on this splash to try to build up that crowd for the next retake, or actually invest it right here just to try to see if they can get a pick. They do get one onto Synapse. That Zap Cooler will be delayed at least a little bit here, as now the zone just trying to trade hands eventually goes back into Vanguard's possession.
Yeah, Vanguard very much able to retake the map thanks to one crab that gave the local team the way in. 3 down onto Bob. It's now the hunt for the Zap, and Phoenix is winning that fight. Huge play by Phoenix with the splash right here.
Yes, and as well, having that
Ooh.
crab already in such a dangerous lockout position here. It is taken out,
Yeah.
though, I believe, by Devin, who've been able
Yep.
to take out several of those crabs already. However, Vanguard have a very strong lead, down to 38. However, the overwhelming numbers, the overwhelming purple wave of Bob is moving in, eventually being able to take that zone. The penalties now not really having anything to worry about. However, they do lose 3 players, and yet again, Synapse is the last one standing for Bob, forced back.
Yeah, Vanguard simply taking back control of the ground so fast. That's the power of their double mid lines. Right there, Nick going in, only getting a trade, but the rest of the team was able to take over. Bob is going to take the zone back now. Can they make points? They haven't made much yet.
Not really much, but I mean, Devin does have Wavebreaker here to kind of just delay the push a little bit here, trying to see if they can find anything on that E-leader. They do actually help in finding the pen on the side of Vanguard, now giving them a little bit more space to operate. You do see that Stamper just trying to move in, trying to see if they can get these jumps. Unfortunately, is taken out, but Vanguard are able to get back to the zone and at least get control, even if it's only for a little bit.
Yeah, right now, Bob able to keep control over the zone. 2 versus 2. Oh, the extra splat. It's only the pencil for Vanguard. Forced to wait, forced to hold at least that ramp for the rest of the team. Bob are gonna take care of their penalty right there. If they maintain the pressure, they could get the lead, Rocket.
For sure, they do have to worry about Phoenix's crab, though. That will pave the way for the rest of Vanguard to try to move in here. The Stamper managing to find one onto Devin here now. E-leader, not something you have to worry about. Another one onto Nick as well, and that will mean that Vanguard still will hold on to that very, very slim lead, Pat, but more importantly, give that penalty still to Bob here, as now they are chipping through their own penalty pretty quickly.
And they want to, because that lead they just got much smaller. 2 minutes left in the game. Vanguard still fighting for that zone and getting an extra splat by Mickey right there. Ooh, huge, huge Mickey! Mickey! That's the pop-off power of a player of that level. Right there, Vanguard still holding the zone, and there's nobody from Bob to paint it right now.
Yeah, just 6 ticks left. Eventually, the Bob will just barely manage to hold on for dear life here. But, I mean, you still have a little bit of a penalty to kind of work through here. Vanguard cannot afford to stagger here. You do have to still hold firm. I mean, you have Mikey just getting all the shots that land on that rapid, though. So you will have a one-player up situation here. The crab will take care of the next, and Vanguard right back into business in mid.
Yeah, huge moves by Vanguard to still hold the zone, hold the control, and I mean, penalty isn't that big at this. 2 players down onto Bob. We might see a game 5 right there. Bob needs to push. They don't have much time left.
Yes, not a lot of time here. Just Synapse on this right side, seeing if they can get any paint on the board. The point total for Vanguard all the way down to 4, but living to fight another day is Bob. The trip strikes going in will take out 2 in total there, as now Vanguard have to worry about not staggering here. Phoenix, the last player standing, just trying to take that one-on-one in against Mobile, and they will get wiped out. Hold on. Bob still have an opportunity to get this one back. Vanguard have 1 or 2 maybe pushes left to get this retake. They need to make them count, as now we'll be entering overtime here shortly.
Yeah, and Bob, they have a great comp, but they don't have strikes. They don't have Booyah Bob. They need to paint with their weapons, and right now that's exactly what they're doing. They're pushing in. Overtime is started. There isn't much time left. The bucket is down, 2 down onto Bob, and the crab tank is deployed onto the zone. It looks like Vanguard are getting game number 5. One final game of Splat Zones to decide who gets the crown.
And it could not get any closer than this, Pat. In Golden Paddling Pool number 320, we are in Game 5 Grand Finals, like you mentioned here. Down 0-2 initially in this set. Vanguard have gotten a quick 2 back and have gotten some that momentum back, but I'm still a little bit in shock of these individual plays. Of course, you saw from Mikey there on that Rapid Blaster being able to mechanically get a kill, flick to the right, snipe Devin, flick back to the left, and get a third there. Open things wide open for Vanguard to kind of keep going here. You see it right here, finding one onto Nick, and then eventually just being able to have the presence of mind to know where Devin is and get the pick onto Synapse as well, one after the other. They have definitely woken up from that slumber that they must have been in for game 1 and 2. Let's see if they can continue on a very, very volatile Mahi Mahi.
Yeah. Mahi resorts to decide it all. That's very fitting. This is, I think, the best map mode to see what top players are able to do. You have so many different ways to play here. You have so many different things to do here. And you have really the ability to take huge team fights. We saw on Brian Water teams really go all around mid and fight as one. You see so much more on that on Mahi because once the water drops, that huge flat area in the middle is a perfect playground for team fights.
And now, I'm not here to plant the seeds of doubt, but remember, Vanguard does not have a Trip Strike type special to kind of go in with. If they do choose to change that, it could be beneficial to them, but if they're just rolling with the Crab, remember, this is a map mode that is similar to kind of to Hammerhead Bridge. It can get very, very snowballing. You have to make sure those retakes are good. You have Mikey, I believe, still sticking with the same Rapid Blaster there. Still going with the Killer Whale, so that means that Crab really being the only thing that you can retake with on Vanguard. On the side of Bob, still same weapons. Let's see who gets this first team fight win.
Yeah, first fight for the zone, for the control. Raiki going in, getting the splat on Nick, trying to get a bit more, and he's getting one more on the other side. It's going to be Vanguard getting control, but Mickey is the last squid standing, holding the ground for Vanguard as everybody is coming back in there, but Mickey is punishing the comeback from Bob. Mickey is still pushing. That's not supposed to be a Slayer, that's supposed to be a midline.
Oh, if Mickey keeps hitting these shots, it's going to be dangerous for Bob. Something that you have to worry about here. Already the water level has dropped. Bulba left on the wrong side of that, being taken out here. And you see the Stamper just trying to poke away. Unfortunately, is taken out. And in a blink of an eye, we're already down to the 40-point mark for Vanguard here, Pat.
I mean, Vanguard are not stopping. This minus 2 players. Bob has lost 2 players and Vanguard are still in control of the zone, getting more and more, not stopping, only 10 ticks left. That was so close, but right now Vanguard are just winning. Oh, wait!
Ooh.
Is it over? The
Booyah Bomb.
Yes.
The Booyah Bomb. The Booyah Bomb from Bulba managing to stay alive, but I mean, that is a monumentous effort that Bob has to come back from now. Vanguard back in control of the zone, and although they don't have any retake specials, Vanguard that is, I mean, it doesn't matter if they don't even have to retake at all if they just hold on to the zone.
Yeah, I mean, Vanguard. And with 2 down onto Bob again, and there's a crap tank ready by Phoenix to just push Bob away. It is non-stop pressure by Vanguard, but Vanguard just lost 2 players, made that a third, and made that a fourth. That's a delayed wipe and a wipe onto Vanguard. Bob are alive, and this time they've really taken control of the whole map.
Yes, and it's not over yet. You still don't have any penalties to worry about, except Burst Bombs managing to take out that S-Blast here. Bulba is forced back to respawn now. Down to the 60-point mark is Bob here, but Vanguard are trying to get quickly back onto this retake. Remember, they don't really have anything to kind of retake with. That Crab will be invested to kind of help with that, but you need to get that opening pick. You do see the Slosher initially going down for Bob here, but the zone, with being it very, very contested here, still stays in the hands of Bob.
Yeah, Bob holding well. Vanguard taking their time. They know they have a big enough lead, but they can really all put it on one huge push, and that push is coming. They slowly take the extra picks. Bulba to the side is going to be splatted. Nick, the last squid with that Slosher, trying to hold some ground, maintain some presence, and the presence is still here, but is no longer there. Man, 2 players down again. Vanguard only have 30 ticks of penalty.
Yeah, this is where do or die time kind of starts to set in. You don't have the trip strikes nor the Booyah Bomb to kind of retake with this from Bob, so you need to either get these specials or get that pick. Now almost out of their penalty points here. The trip strikes do go online. You'd have the specials going in, finally being able to flip the zone in time, but holding it is another entire conversation. 2 players fall in total for the side of Bob, 2 fall for Vanguard themselves, and eventually Bob will find another wind of life here, but time is ticking down, not only in the match timer, but also on Vanguard, just trying to retake this as the Naps falls.
Yeah, very nice coordination right there between Phoenix and Mickey as the crab tank is deployed by Phoenix. A huge moves, 2 players down onto Bob again, and Vanguard retaking the zone. We are in the last minute, Rocket, and Vanguard right now, all they need to do is hold the zone.
Yes, Bob has to take the zone back to force overtime and to keep their life alive. They have trip strikes to go back into it. This retake needs to be perfect here. Time running down for Bob, though, to get in. You see the players of Vanguard threatening that Price Strike player. The picks will go into the favor of Vanguard. It will not be enough as Vanguard, in a very tightly fought grand finals, in a come from behind, in a reverse sweep, take Golden Paddling Pool number 320, 3-2.
That's Vanguard for you. They like a good comeback, and they showed that to us with no safety net. Nothing to lose. They simply won all the games in front of them, and Bob fought till the very last second, kept that last game alive. We're almost coming back, but Vanguard simply had made too much of a lead at the start of the game. Rocket are going to take this game, this set, and this tournament.
I'm very impressed, Pat. I mean, from Vanguard's perspective, I mean, in any tournament setting, let alone in a Golden Paddling Pool, it's so difficult to do exactly what Vanguard did. You see it on your screen. First 2 games, loss. It was pretty much over for them already. They could not afford to get any more mistakes to Bob, and we saw afterwards 1 win after another. They clawed their way back, and it really just shows the strength and resilience they have as a team. GG's to them. They are your paddling pool winners.
Yeah, that's going to be our tournament on the first place game. Close One managed to beat Camden 3-0. That's the top 4 really ordered as seeding was expecting, but we still saw incredible games, even though everything happened according to plan.
And I'm sure Vanguard might have not gone entirely to plan, in the sense of they didn't want to obviously go down 0-2 to begin with, but I mean, they ultimately got in the end, so I mean, can't argue with the results there. But I think that will do it for us here over at Dapple Productions. Before we go, Pat, where can the people find you?
It's written right here on the screen. Padgertom on Blue Sky is the best way to find me and Rocket. Where can I find you?
Yep, similar spot, right below my camera icon right there, Rocket1 on Blue Sky. With that being said, though, I think that'll be it for us here. Shout out to Jorian, as always, for being our wonderful streamer in the background, streamer producer. Thank you all for joining us in this wonderful edition of Golden Paddling Pool, and we will see you next time.